Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, guys. Hope you guys can hear. Right, so live stream, guys. My name is Liaquat Zaman, if you guys don't know that. And this is the live stream that we have on Saturdays. And usually what happens is questions, you guys put questions up and I go through questions in the Curious Cat. So what you guys can do is you guys can either ask in the comments or you can ask on Curious Cat. It's up to you. If you can hear me, let me know. Yeah, if you guys can hear. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Wa alaikum assalam MP. Wa alaikum assalam Idris. Sanga chalde Idrisa. Alhamdulillah MP, how are you? Just wait for people to come on. How comes you were on last week? Okay, so let's have a check out of the questions. What kind of questions you guys have? Hopefully there's not that many today. Not that many questions. Okay, so we'll start from here, inshallah. So I hope you guys are all excited. Hope you guys are all excited at the Q&A. Kamran, wa alaikum assalam. I was busy, so I missed it. Allah. Chalo. This week you're not busy then, so alhamdulillah. All right. Shall we start? Let's have a start at the questions then. Let's put this to the side. Wa alaikum assalam. Shaqim. All right, so check these questions out. Wa alaikum assalam. It's Hussein. Okay, so remember, guys, like I said, you want to ask questions, you can either ask it on Curious Cat if you want to stay anonymous, you don't want your name to come up. And if you want to ask in the comments, then go for it. Ask in the comments, inshallah. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of a balance. So some questions I'm going to be answering from the Curious Cat, and some of the questions I'll be answering from from the comments, inshallah. Okay, so first question. Mashallah. Check this question out. What's your favorite Bollywood song? Have you heard Maine Poocha Chand Se? Mashallah. What a way to start off this this Curious Cat question. Yeah. So so yes, I have heard that song. I don't think there's anyone who is from Indian subcontinent who hasn't heard that song. In fact, when I was in Pakistan, where sometimes we used to go to this there was this hotel, big posh hotel, 5-star hotel, we used to have a free lounge where you had Wi-Fi. So it was very rare to get a place that had Wi-Fi in them days. So we used to just go there, and you had some nice and they heat up the cake, and it's got this kind of like gooey chocolate. I don't know what it's called. I used to have that there. So there used to be this guy who used to sit, right? And this guy basically he used to have this keyboard and he used to play different whichever song you wanted. So I remember like many times he would play this Mene Pucha Chand song. Yeah, so anyway, yes, I've heard that one. Okay, next. Should women who go for Umrah be told to pray their salat in the hotel instead of the haram? I find this a strange opinion, but some seem to enforce it on their women. I mean, I also find this a strange opinion because I think what those people who take this position includes haram because that's a masjid. So one thing that you have to remember when you're dealing with fiqh is basically fiqh is dealing with masail, but the context to the masala, the society, the social setup, the way that people operate in the function in the society is not mentioned. So sometimes what can happen is a person might look at a masala and look at it in a vacuum without there being any sort of like cultural context. And that's where fiqh becomes very dangerous. And that's why when you study, fiqh needs to be studied under someone who's trained so that the teacher is able to give context to masail. Otherwise, what happens is, I know in many places what happens is someone who's untrained in fiqh is teaching people fiqh and all they're simply doing is translating what the text is saying. And that can be very dangerous because, you know, there's a difference between a fiqh and understanding the application of fiqh. Yeah, what they call the rasm al-mufti or the tatbiq of the fiqh. So this is also something which is very... I personally would say that, you know, women can pray in the haram because there's sections for them as well, and they've only come there for a few days, and you know, so yeah. Okay. Is a gravestone part of the funeral cost? That would be optional. That would not come out the money of the deceased. Yeah, wallahu alam. Okay. As you can tell, guys, I still got this cough. Yeah, cough's not going, guys. Cough's not going. I need you guys to make dua. Fahimuddin wa alaikum assalam. Jalal wa alaikum assalam. Kamran, can you recite Surah Fatiha last rakat of Maghrib when praying behind the Imam? According to majority Hanafis, no. The recitation of the Imam is for the follower, whether he recites aloud or whether he recites quietly. Okay, so that's basically what's said. Some Hanafis, like Sheikh Abdul Hayy Lakhnawi, has taken a position which has been attributed to Imam Muhammad that in the silent prayers, that's possible to have a mustache which goes over the upper lip. Like leaving armpit hair, basically, something like that. Karahat in that sense. So in other words, it's hygiene. It's one of those kind of karahat to do with hygiene. So it would be disliked according to Hanafis for a person to do that. Okay, as Allah has more than 99 names, why are 99 names part of the Asma al-Husna, and how did scholars arrive at this 99 names? So there is a hadith which mentions about the 99 names, but the scholars have discussed this authenticity of this hadith. The thing you have to remember about hadith which are to do with Aqidah is established through certain types of hadith. Not all hadith can establish like the fundamental aspects of Aqidah. And so this is why these 99 names, if you actually go through the narrations which mention 99 names, you'll find the narrations are very problematic, yeah, in their grading. That they're not authentic. Like if you were to even take those 99 names and you were to look at the names that Allah mentions about Himself in the Quran, there's actually more. I've actually, that's it. All right. I don't know. I've never had them. The feed, is it cutting? Okay, if Imam, after he finishes the prayer, realizes that Madhi has dropped on his underwear, what should he do? What about the Salah of Jama'ah? Yeah, so if he's sure that it happened before he gave Salam, then he'll have to tell the people to repeat their Salat. Yeah, he'll have to tell the people. Yeah, so basically, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. This is... what it means is how a sin to stop themselves from doing a sin. And there's no ability for a person who intends to do a good action to do that action, quwwah. So there's no quwwah to enable a person to do it. They can only stop doing it with the help of Allah. And if a person's, let's say, wants to get up for Fajr in the morning, they can't get up for Fajr in the morning except with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, so hawl, it means to transfer a person from one state to another, and quwwah means referring to the strength. Okay. Next. Okay, so I think a lot of people get confused, and this is the flaw of translation, you can say. Yeah, lost in translation. Translation generally gives a sort of meaning which is, as Muslims we accept anything that we're told by the scholars, which is alhamdulillah, which is good in a sense. But sometimes what happens is that we read translations and there might be something in the translation and we don't know if it's right or wrong, and we just accept it for no reason, and then we paste it onto our social media, and it just seems something very spiritual. So we've got to be very careful about that as well. Okay, I don't know why it's freezing. Yeah, I don't know why. What's the problem with it? Okay, so hopefully it shouldn't freeze anymore. Okay, let's go back to Curious Cat then. Did many Sahih Hadith get lost in Islamic Spain? Not to my knowledge. I mean, see, the idea of Sahih Hadith, this itself is a very, very big discussion. Inshallah, when I do my series on Usul Hadith, I'm going to do a graded sort of like progressive series on Usul Hadith for beginners and intermediate advanced. So in there, you'll understand how Hadith compilation, how it occurred, what does it mean to compile Hadith, and is it possible that some scholars could have missed Hadith, and what happens if some Hadith got lost in history, and how does all that work? So simple answer to this: no, Sahih Hadith did not get lost in Islamic Spain. It's a very, very you could say detailed subject to be discussed. And that's why in 5 minutes it wouldn't be. So those people who don't have a background in Usul Hadith wouldn't be able to understand this kind of, because you need a bit of context to it as well. But in a gist, no. What's the explanation of Ammara, Lawwama, Mutma'inna? So in the Quran, Allah mentions about the nafs. And in the nafs, regarding the nafs, Allah says that the nafs is of several types. You have the nafsul Ammara, Lawwama, and Mutma'inna. So Ammara is from the word Amr, as in you have your body. So for example, this is my body, yeah, as you guys can tell. And this body that I have, what it basically does is it's got multifaceted layers in there. So this body has, a physical body, the flesh and all that you can see. Then this body has a soul. We don't exactly know what the soul actually means, as in what's its shape, what's its form, how does it link with the body, how does it connect to the body. And then you have something called the nafs. And the nafs is basically, you can imagine it like this programming that Allah has put inside the body. So the kind of, if you have a computer like a Apple phone, and it has a special OS programming platform, and Android has its own, right? So it's like the programming that you have. So there are certain things that are programmed inside of the human body that, like, you can say part of the fitrah of the human being, which like instruct it to do things, command it to do things, whether those things are good or bad. It's ammara. You can say this is what maybe motivates the person to become a CEO. This is what motivates the soldier to fight in the front line. This is what motivates the firefighter to jump in the burning house and save the people. That's the kind of like ammara. And it can also be evil as well. This is what tempts and commands the drug dealer to sell his drugs, and this is tempt the murderer to do this, and the rapist and all that. Yeah, this is the nafsul ammara you have. So it's a kind of like, it depends how you control it, you tame it. Then you have the nafs al lawwama. So lawwama is from the word lawm, which means to criticize, like you're telling yourself off. That's the guilt inside that's been programmed inside of you. So you have this kind of like this kind of safety net of guilt, and every time you do something wrong, it kind of kicks in, and it makes you feel bad about what you've done. This is the lawwama. It keeps on telling you off, tells you off. So different people would have different, you can you can say susceptibilities to ammara and lawwama. And then thirdly, you have the mutma'inna. So the mutma'inna is where like a person trains their soul, trains themselves so much that their body kind of like becomes in line with its design nature. It becomes content with it. It becomes comfortable with it. Yeah, so it doesn't go here nor does it go there. It just reaches an equilibrium. Yeah, so this is one of the meanings, and I think this is the meaning which is more appropriate for this. Okay. Right, next. Assalamu alaikum. Recently, I've been asked more about Islam and homophobia, and I've been having difficulty responding to these questions. I was wondering if you know a way I can explain it or justify it. I mean, see, these kind of things, homophobia, LGBT, transgender issues, pedophilia, which is going to be the next thing that's going to be coming out soon. All these kind of things, as Muslims, we need training in them. Right, we need training, we need understanding. How do we tackle these? We obviously do not condone the act of homophobia. We don't condone that. We don't praise people that are homophobic towards others. In other words, we don't say that a person who has homosexual tendencies is wrong, or he's a sinner or this and that, because tendencies you can't help. Yes, what we do condemn is someone who is publicly calling for it, as in is openly saying that he does the act of homosexual act, and believes that this is something which is halal in Islam. We're against that because there is no evidence for that. So if a person has homosexual inclinations, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, then it's like a person having inclinations to commit fornication with another woman. It's like a person having inclinations for drinking alcohol. It's like a person having inclinations to, murder someone, right? So having those inclinations itself is something that you need to try and control. You need to try and overcome. You need to try and, suppress them as much as you can. And, that's something which a person is in struggle with. But then for the person to take the next step and kill someone, or to drink alcohol, or to carry out this homosexual sort of like act, whatever, then that's something which we believe that this is against our values and faith. Yeah, this is against our values and faith. So that's what we have to make clear. So having a work colleague who's a homosexual, eating with them, sitting with them, talking to them, that wouldn't be a problem in that sense. What would be the issue is if a person was doing this action and you didn't kind of show that this was going against your values. Yeah, that's I think that's something that we need to get trained. And the problem is we have to kind of like word it and say it in such a way that it has to be politically accepted as well. That's another issue that we have. How we word certain things is very important in this society that we live. We're a minority, and we're already under pressure because of a lot of the media spotlight on Muslims and Muslims so-called values that they kind of propagate. So we have to be very careful of how we say these things as well. Yeah, so anyway. Okay, next. When fasting, if someone's going through a room where there is loban, I don't know what that is, burning or smoking taking place, but not deliberately taking in the smoke, is roza okay? Yes, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. The assumption in that case is that there is a copious smoke which would inevitably go down the throat. For example, if there was, in the case of loban, only a little of the loban burner, so smoke was very short-lived and mostly fragrance filling the house, in that case it's not a risk. So perhaps depending on so basically the fuqaha have discussed this issue, and they've said that if there is a room which is filled with bakhur, or the smoke, someone's cooking on the fire and the smoke burning, as long as they don't intentionally inhale, like like you go to the Boots or somewhere where you use the tester and you put it in yourself, you inhale it, deliberately inhaling it, to inhale it, that would break your fast according to Hanafis. But if a person didn't deliberately, a person was just passing through, or is behind a car and there's smoke coming out from the back of the exhaust, or there's people in the car that are smoking, or in the bus or whatever, fast won't break. Yeah, so it's all down to if you're deliberately like breathing it in, you got to kind of like do that kind of action, you can say. Okay, next, let's check these questions out. Okay, is the sin equal whether you steal 1 cent versus $1 million? Is the sin equal? I don't know. I mean, to say a sin is equal, obviously, disobedience, both acts are acts of disobedience. And disobedience is of different levels, isn't it? For example, like if a person was to backbite someone, that's disobedience. If a person was to murder someone, that's disobedience. But it doesn't mean they're both equal. They're both equal in the sense that they're disobedience. But in the degree of disobedience and the consequences of disobedience, then obviously they're both different. Yeah, so sin won't be equal in that sense. It depends. Like when you ask these kind of questions, are they equal? You have to look at, like if I said to you, is biryani equal to, soup? It's like, what do you mean? Are they equal? How and in what way are they equal? Are they both food? Yeah, they're both food. Okay, they're equal. Are they both, eaten with a spoon? Okay, yeah, both eaten with a spoon. Okay, so see what I mean? So when you have these kind of equal sort of issues, you got to be a bit more clear. Why was Uthman radiallahu anh fearful of the afterlife when he had the glad tidings of Jannah as he was amongst the Ashar Bashar? Very good question. So you see, when it comes to our like when it comes to basically our sort of like understanding of how we're Muslims, generally, if we started off from let's say for example a family who are Muslims, and then we grew up and then we learnt about Islam, we generally have this understanding of Islam being like this, as in, if you were to pray your Fajr, then you're going Jannah, and you pray your Dhuhr, then you're really going Jannah, and if you pray your Asr, you're really, really going Jannah, and if you pray your Maghrib, you're really, really, really going Jannah, and if you Isha, and if you do Quran on top of that, and if you do dhikr, and if you fast. So basically, we kind of see as this kind of like point system, right? So the more points that we get, then we're going Jannah, right? And we're getting more stuff. However, you see, in the Quran, to counter this, Allah mentions a very, very important point. Is the sound too loud? Is it kind of like peaking too much? Let me know if it's peaking. Yeah, not peaking, in China. Peaking. You guys heard about what's happening in China? That what's it called? The convo virus. I forgot what it's called. Coronavirus. Yeah, the coronavirus. Yeah. Look at that, guys. This is when you guys ask me, how do you manage your hair? This is what happens with the hair. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, but that's like a bunch of hair coming from my head. Yeah, that's so basically, going back to what we were saying, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he counters this, right, with this idea of sounds fine, yeah, alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair. Coronavirus, yes, it's the one, coronavirus. I don't know where they get these names from. So the thing that Allah ta'ala mentions in the Quran is He's in control. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. The mashi'at of Allah. In other words, Allah being in control. This is such a powerfully deep concept. Like, we're living in this world. I am speaking to you. I've put this live stream on. You guys are sitting there. You're listening. Some of you guys might be drinking tea or coffee or eating some snacks or something, or maybe doing something else on the side. But the reality is that nothing in this universe happens without the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, like we say, inshaAllah. This concept is so profound and deep that, scholars in the past have been discussing this for centuries. Like, how does the mashi'at of Allah work with the universe and the laws of the universe? How is it? Like, we seem to see one thing happening, but then when Allah is telling us He's in control, how is that control taking place? Is there some wires connected? Is it being done wirelessly? Is it something which is like a parallel universe? How is all this happening? So the Mashi'a, it kind of shows that that Allah is in control ultimately, and that Allah being in control is, we don't know the outcome. Like, what could happen is we could be doing all good our life, but because we've been doing on the side bad things, secretly we're doing bad things, or we've ticked off all the boxes apparently, but we haven't been praying our salat in the right way, then what can happen is Allah on the Day of Judgment might pull this up. Just like imagine a guy's driving the car, and he's driving the car, and he's going according to the speed limit and all of that, but the guy is causing a nuisance to other drivers, and the police click on this, and the police might let him off, but then the police can pull him up on the side and say, well, look, you're driving okay, but the problem was you causing a nuisance the way that you were treating other drivers on the street. So this can happen as well. So in other words, Allah is in control, that the mashi'at of Allah is, like Imam Tahawi says, bayna adlihi wa fadlihi, the justice of Allah and the bounty of Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ, he even said to the Sahaba, he says, none of you are entering Jannah, remember, none of you are entering Jannah because of the actions you're doing. The actions you're doing are something which shows submission, that how you're submitting yourself to Allah, how you're recognizing Allah's instructions. But don't think to yourself that you're going to enter Jannah because simply you prayed your 5 salat, or you read Quran, or you did your fasting and everything. That's something you're expected to do. But then at the end of the day, Allah, He can just say to you, well, do you know you done this? Do you know how, a grudge you had against this person, or you backbited this person, or this, that had such a deep effect on your actions that it's cancelled out your actions. So this is why this concept of, we have the Sahaba understood this at a very deep level, and Sahaba were very scared of their actions. Will Allah accept my actions? And we hear this kind of statement a lot from Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, Ali and others, that they were unsure whether how is Allah going to deal with them when they have to stand in front of Allah. So this is a state you reach when your iman, like, it becomes very, very firm, and it's kind of like got its roots into the your life. But if iman is just like something which is not really iman, it's just like ticking off boxes, like kids kind of expect, if they've done something, they expect their parents to give them something, right? If your kids have done something, they'll say to you, well, look, mom, dad, you told me to do this and I've done it, and I deserve it. Anyway, so I'll just mention that. I thought it was profound. Next, Jalal Ahmed. Is there a set number of the dhikr we should say or do unlimited throughout the day? No, there isn't. Right? And like I said, we have to be very careful about this dhikr idea of how much dhikr we do all day. So the extreme idea would be a person 24/7 just as dhikr all day. That is unhealthy. In fact, dhikr can become toxic to you. Right? Dhikr can become toxic to you, and it can have a adverse effect on a person. And I've seen some people, who actually have lost their mind because of just excessive dhikr. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Yeah, they lost their mind, and it's something very, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you have to be very careful of balancing it with the dunya, because we are made up of bodies, physical bodies, which require dunya, right, to function, and we're also made up of this nafs, this soul, which requires like spiritual sort of like sustenance to operate. And we need a balance of both. Yeah. Okay. I think I read from a Hanafi Mufti that Fatiha is sunnah for the 3rd and 4th rakat. Yeah, if you're praying alone. It's mustahab. If you're praying alone, on your own, yeah. In a gather, or if the imam. In a gathering, if we clap to applaud someone in praise, is it permissible? I have heard it calls shaitan near you. Is it true? I have not heard that shaitan comes when you applaud. It's fine, nothing wrong with it. I think the people who say that it's wrong, they say it's wrong because like when they were introduced to Western society, like colonialists, they saw them clapping at the end of gatherings. Yeah. So they saw this as something which was an identification marker of colonialism. And so they said, right, don't imitate them, don't clap. Does that make sense? So this is why, like, some people will, it's like the birthday issue as well. Our birthday's haram. And then I say, no, they're not. And then some people say, but the non-Muslims do it. Well, the non-Muslims do lots of things. They have bank holiday. Does that mean you're not going to have bank holiday? They do other things as well. Okay. Hamza Tayyib. Your thoughts on Al-Balagha Al-Wadiha, first text study in Balagha. Okay, good question. This is a refreshing question from the normal fiqh ones. Okay, so Balagha Al-Wadiha. This is, when we were studying Balagha in Madrasa, I remember this was one of the books which I would study on the side. I would read on the side. Personally, I don't like this book for a beginner. And I think, see, this book has been designed for Arabs. So one of the mistakes that we make as a non-Arab speakers, right, non-Arab, like born and brought up non-Arab, is that we think we have to study the same books that Arabs study in their madrasas, as in Arabic grammar, balagha, these kind of subjects. No, because they already understand the content, right, the material of Arabic. They already understand Arabic. They know Arabic, basically. They can hear Arabic. A lot of the stuff makes sense to them. Yes, some of the words they won't understand. Some of the expressions, they'll have to learn it. But the thing is, when they're learning grammar, they've got their language, and all they're being taught is, remember when you guys say Zayd is under the tree? Yeah, Zayd tahta shajara. Well, let me tell you what Zayd is. You put a dhamma on there because Zayd falls as this. When non-Arabs learn Arabic or balagha, they have two problems. One is they have to learn the grammar, and number two, they have to learn the content. Right? For the first time, they've come across a fresh language, so this is why it becomes very problematic for them. Yeah. So, I would say that first of all, if you're going to study, let's say for example Arabic, learn Arabic in a very, very easy way. Like the 17 lessons that I do, this is the reason I designed it like this, because it was designed to help people in order to be able to understand Arabic, just the basic rules, and then when they kind of get the gist of immersing themselves in Arabic texts, right, they can do Arabic grammar. And Arabic grammar is just like they say, isn't it? It's النحو في الكلام كالملح في الطعام. النحو في الكلام كالملح في الطعام. Nahu is only supposed to be like salt in food. So if you're putting loads of salt in your food, you're killing yourself. So this is what happens basically. So I wouldn't advise Balaghat al-Wadih. I've got a course online on my Uruk website, which is Balagha, designed for Ilm al-Ma'ani. It's a whole course. And then you got Ilm al-Badi' and Bayan. Right? I think I have about 15 hours of videos, I think is each one. But it's designed specifically for that, so you can get yourself into, understand the concepts. Then after that, if you want to read and get into poetry, because another problem with Balaghat al-Wadiha is it's got too much poems in there, right? And then the student has to kind of get themselves used to poems, and then it kind of becomes too difficult. So that's my own 2 pence on that, guys. Okay, Bahruddin, major lag. Is there still a lag? Hopefully there's not. Stream has stopped. It's lagging. Are we allowed to bury our teeth or hair in graveyards in Makkah, Medina, Jantul Baqi, Jantul Mu'alla? Or do we need to ask their permission if a person has already done it in the past? Is it a sin? No, it won't be a sin, but obviously it makes sense to ask permission. You don't want someone coming to your garden and just like planting parts of their body. It's not really kind of practical. And we don't find Sahaba doing this. That's the strange thing. So remember, our measure is Sahaba. So do we find Sahaba burying themselves in Jannatul Baqi? We don't find that. Those who were in Medina and they died in Medina, they're buried there. But those who are not in Medina and died other places, they were buried wherever they were. Yeah, so, I think we have to kind of take consideration, because imagine 4 million people coming to Makkah and Medina and they all want to be buried in Jannatul Baqi. It's going to be very impractical. Okay, Bahruddin, we can't hear you. Oh, you can't hear me now. Hope it's working now. Should be. Your froze working now. Jalal Ahmed, how would one make up for Mrs. Salat or previous years? Shall we do qaza of every Salat? Yes. So you do qaza of every Salat, the fard and the witr. Yeah, just fard and witr. And you pray bare minimum. Right, so the bare minimum you need to do in the Salat, you just do that. No sunnahs, no nothing. And then you slowly kind of do it. And then if you die, on the Day of Judgment, inshallah, Allah, we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive us for the rest of them, because we tried to make them up. Okay, let's just check out some of these ones. Is Laylatul Qadr the 27th night? We don't know. Many scholars say most likely it might be the 27th, but in reality we don't know. And lots of mosques, they seem to do on the 27th, but I think it's just cultural. There are some narrations that indicate 27th, but there's also narrations that mention others. Sahih Bukhari has a whole chapter on this, that it could be on the 21st, on the 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th even. And some scholars have even said that Laylatul Qadr, it actually goes around in the year. Like Abu Hanifa rahimahullah has an opinion that Laylatul Qadr goes around in the year. There's 2 Laylatul Qadrs. So there's one that occurs in Ramadan, and there's one that it circulates around the year, and you don't know exactly what day it's going to occur on. Yeah, and this again goes into the realm of this idea of existence. What is existence? What is time? How does time work? When Allah revealed that the Quran and Laylatul Qadr, what does that mean? Like, does the existence run around a 365-day earth spin around the sun? Like, how is it? Like, what is it? What does it mean? Or is it according to the moon? Or is there a greater orbit in the solar system? So how does it work? So these kind of questions, this is why we can't become too concrete in specifying these days and saying, on this particular day this exact thing occurs, right? And that's why you can have, for example, like you can have Australia doing Laylatul Qadr maybe on one day and another country doing another day. Maybe it could happen, because we don't know exactly how this concept of Laylatul Qadr works. So when the hadith says Laylatul Qadr occurs on a specific night, that doesn't mean it's on a specific night for the entire universe. Someone's living on Mars, for example. Does that mean that they're not going to experience Laylatul Qadr because they're not on Earth, because the Mars orbit is slightly different from Earth's? Okay. In Tablighi Nisab, it states some ulama believe Laylatul Qadr can be throughout the year. How does this opinion compare to Surah Al-Qadr, which implies Ramadan? No, Surah Al-Qadr doesn't say it's in Ramadan. Yeah, it doesn't say it's in Ramadan. Yeah, like I just explained about that. Why was the exact date Laylatul Qadr not told to the people? I mean, we don't know. Why is the exact date of Laylatul Qadr? Why is the exact date of the Quran revelation not revealed? The Quran does not go into these polemics. It doesn't get into this kind of little nitty-gritty sort of like things that humans like. We like to know dates, but we like to know names as well. So the Quran, you'd rarely find the Quran naming people, apart from prophets and a few individuals here and there. The Quran doesn't really name people. It just gives descriptions. So likewise, the Quran does not give these details. And so, there could be many reasons for this. We don't know the exact reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does this, but there could be many wisdoms for why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, veiled from us the Laylatul Qadr. One of them could be, if we knew Laylatul Qadr, maybe we wouldn't work hard enough through the rest of the year. Yeah, maybe some people would just rely on this. Sometimes, you get some people who no salat, no fasting, no nothing, but they just go to this one sheikh and just give him a few words of notes and ask him for dua, and that's it. They think, what, sheikh's gonna make dua for me and khalas. Yeah. Well, unfortunately that's not how it works. Okay, let's have a look at some of your questions then. Or actually, one more question. I am not a Hanafi, but I am curious. Are you curious, cat? In regards to the issue, it has come to me that the Hanafis are of the view that if someone were to say, if I marry you, you're divorced, counts as if you are divorced, it counts as one divorce if they didn't marry that person after saying it. My question is that specific to the conditional sentence, meaning would it still count as a divorce if a man just said, I divorce you, to a woman who isn't his wife? But then later, right? So no, it doesn't work like that. This is actually usul fiqh, and this is a very technical issue, and I've explained this masala in usul shashi. Actually comes in usul shashi, this masala is, and it also comes in Anwar, and it comes in other books as well. So this concept is based upon the idea that in Arabic, can you have a conditional sentence and the outcome of that sentence will be valid even though there isn't any sort of like context for that shart, that condition sentence. So for example, like if a woman's walking across the road and you said to her, you're divorced, would divorce occur? So everyone says no. But the Hanafis say, look, if you attribute, so guys, if you guys haven't done usul fiqh, block your ears, guys, block your ears now, put your fingers in your ears, do not listen to this, because this is not gonna make sense to you, right? This is a long topic, it requires a lot of explanation, but if you don't know usul fiqh, then you'll understand, inshallah. So the Hanafis say, if you have a conditional, so Shafi'is say, conditional sentence will only apply when the mahal, meaning the place where the conditional sentence is being applied to, is something which qualifies for the outcome. So if there's a woman on the street, you're not married to her, and you say to her that if I marry you, you're divorced. Shafi'is say divorce doesn't occur even if you marry her, because when you said this statement to her, she didn't qualify for the concept of divorce. Who qualifies for the concept of divorce? A married woman. So if Zayd said to his wife Zainab, you're divorced, if you, let's say, if you put too much salt in my biryani, you're divorced. So she puts salt in his biryani and she gets divorced. That can happen. Why? Because she is a person who qualifies for the term divorce, as opposed to the first woman. Hanafis say, yes, they agree with this totally, but the only one thing they disagree with is that if you attribute a divorce or a nikah, marriage, to someone who potentially you can marry, like, because this is the kind of individual which is potentially you can marry, then that divorce will occur if you marry them. That's the only scenario they allow. So if you say, if I marry you, now is this man allowed to marry this woman? If yes, then if they do go ahead and get married, then the consequences of that would be that talaq would come into force. But this is because she doesn't qualify currently for this, but she qualifies if he was to marry her. That's all. So if you wanna, the rest of it, I actually Usul al-Shashi course, you can actually register for that. So most of the Usul al-Shashi course is up. There's about 60 videos. I've done about I think about 40 so far, about 45 maybe, and they're all going to be up inshallah soon. So if you want to go through that, inshallah, you can register for that. You just need to put just get in contact with Learning Deen. Send me an email to Learning Deen, and you know, you can take it from there. Okay, is nikah valid on phone Skype if the man and woman are in different countries? I heard it's not. Please confirm. What about the scenario where either one of the parties appoints a representative wakil to accept a nikah on behalf of bride? Yes, so this concept of majlis basically is the concept of where you have a place which brings two people together. So like a room or a hall or a park or whatever, two people together. So the idea of marriage is that there should not be any sort of discrepancy, there should not be any sort of shred of doubt that these two people are getting married. So that's why both individuals have to be present in the in the presence of the two witnesses when they get married. So if the two people are far away, then what needs to happen is there needs to be some other method for that majlis to occur. So Skype, a lot of the scholars that I've spoken to have said they don't agree that Skype is a majlis. So this concept of a majlis has to be looked at in today's times, because when the scholars wrote the books in the past, when they discussed the concept of majlis, they discussed it without knowing that there's going to be in the future this ability for humans from two different parts of the earth to be able to communicate with one another as though they're in the same room. Yeah? So some have actually allowed this and say that Skype would be considered a valid majlis as long as they can be guaranteed 100% that the two individuals that are getting married are the two individuals and there's no means of deception. Yeah? That's basically what they're saying. So there's a difference of opinion regarding this. However, to overcome this, the way that this is overcome is simply like this. So let's say, for example, like Zayd was getting married to Zainab, all right? And Zayd's in, let's say, South America, and Zainab's in Europe. So what would happen basically is that Zayd would make someone his like representative, and then that representative would be in the same room as Zainab, and the two witnesses would be there. And then the representative would say, actually, let me use these guys. Yeah. So see, I've got to use these somewhere. So this is representative. Okay, and representative, hello, and she says, hello. Zayd has made me a representative on his behalf to marry you to him. Yeah, do you want to marry? And she says, let me think about it. Okay. And the witnesses say, oh, we heard that, right? And the mahar has been stipulated. Therefore, both of them are considered to be husband and wife. Not this guy, but Zayd, because he's a representative. So Zayd in South America now is the husband and wife. Yeah. And there you go. You guys want me to do any more scenarios on with stick men? Okay. Next. Okay, let's check out the questions here. If you bought back stones from Muzdalifah, Hajj, or stones from Mina or Makkah, etc., and you still have them, do you have to send them back with someone going Umrah? Okay, you can keep them. Yeah, it's fine. Keep them. As long as you don't like go and start stealing like craters of land from Makkah and like taking it back with you, and you end up like people in Makkah wake up the next morning and say, where's all that land gone? And then you're like legging it there, yeah, in your suitcase with like rocks falling out. Has that? If an older member of the family, such as an auntie, is involved in a sin, e.g. consumes alcohol when dining at a restaurant, is it obligatory or to forbid the evil by at least telling her that this is sinful? You see, forbidding a sin, we should obviously acknowledge something is wrong. But what I would say is always forbid sins, especially in the society we're living in. Like normally, I would say if we're in a society where there's norms of society and Islamic concepts are clearly understood, and majority Muslim, in that society we should clearly show that a certain thing is wrong. Yeah. But if we're living in a society where there's lots of wrong things happening, we can't, I personally believe, and this is my opinion of many of my teachers, that we can't approach this in a very harsh manner. We've got to do this with wisdom, with hikmah, and we've got to try to save people's iman rather than trying to push them away. So this is the kind of situation we're living in today, where one wrong or one harsh statement from us today can push a person into atheism and leaving Islam, and that's why we've got to be very careful about these things. So I personally think in that situation we do it with wisdom. Yeah, in that kind of, it's a close family member especially, we do it with wisdom. Wallahu alam, Allah knows best. I heard the stones cry if they have been removed from their location. Why? Where you been reading by? Why are the stones gonna cry if they've been removed from their location? I haven't heard that. Yeah, I'm sure some aunties come out with that one. That stones of Makkah cry if you take them. Or maybe someone wanted to put in their suitcase like extra things, and you got these stones in there, and she's saying, don't put stones in there because stones cry. I don't know. I've never heard of this. It sounds a bit absurd. What were your thoughts on the credible footage which Sheikh Asrar presented Ya'juj Ma'juj? I think I mentioned this last time. Wa alaykum assalam. Fatal Tatal. May Allah, or Fatal Tatal, or whatever. I don't even know how to pronounce your name, bro. Or sister, whatever. You for spreading knowledge. Jazakallah khair. Now, because you said such a nice thing, please tell me, how do I say your name properly? Yeah, because now I feel bad now. Kamran froze. Back again. Okay, Luban is like incense. Okay, Bakhur. Okay. Luban is frankincense. Yeah, so that was the ruling. Can you perfume yourself if you're fasting? Yes, you can, as long as you don't sniff it in and put it in your nose. Why now? Last time you explained that if a person has an intention to pay back a loan and dies before he can do so, the hadith don't apply to him. Can you explain a bit more? Because I've never come across. Yes. So this is the muhaddithin mentioned this, and they say that when the Prophet ﷺ, he said that Allah will forgive the sins of the shaheed, يغفر للشهيد كل شيء إلا الدين, except for debts. Then what they say under that hadith is this is for a person who had no intention of paying it off. So when we look at hadith, what tends to happen is, if a person not trained in understanding the background of hadith, they take every hadith literal. And we all know that the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he said anything, there was a context. There was people in front of him he was saying it to. There was a background to it. There was a reason why he said it. So the reason why he said it, the background to it, the circumstances, who he was saying it to, all of these play a factor in understanding what the statement means. That's why we study usul fiqh, to understand how we place the wording of a hadith in the context that it has. Right? Otherwise, if we were to take everything literally, like if you guys were to take my literal words and start posting them on places, there might be certain things I say that sound really, really strange, right? Because you don't understand why I'm saying it. So yeah, so that's basically it. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said it because of people who had no intention of paying it. Okay, Jalal Ahmad, sounds fine. No, sound is fine. Okay, why not? Yeah, about the virus in China. A lot of people are celebrating that and saying it's a punishment because of how they treated Muslims. I don't know why I feel comfortable with that. Yeah, I mean, I don't. You know what happens with the Muslims. As long as something happens to someone else, right? Azab's coming on them because these guys, do this or these guys do that. When it happens to Muslims, then. uh, uh. So I started drinking the millet tea, right? That wine I mentioned right last time. Alhamdulillah, it's helping. It's helping, but I don't know. It still hasn't really kind of cleared up. So in a bit, I'm gonna have to go and make some more for myself. Yeah. So these kind of azab, saying that azab has come upon them. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like coincidental. Someone might say, "Oh, isn't it coincidental that they're treating the Muslims in this way, and all of a sudden this strange azab has come on them?" The thing we have to remember is that plagues came on Muslims as well in the past, right? And it wasn't necessarily for azab. Sometimes it's just part of how the world functions. Yeah, illnesses. Maybe these people, done something wrong. Maybe it was because of the kind of diet that they had. Maybe it's something else. Who knows? Allah knows best. So I think we should be very careful of trying to determine the background reason for why this illness has occurred. Okay, Mahad Mania, wa alaikum assalam. In the Hanafi madhab, is praying with Jama'ah wajib. According to some Hanafis, it's wajib. According to some Hanafis, they consider it to be mustahab. Mustahab. Sunnah muakkada. Yeah, sunnah muakkada. So there's a difference of opinion. Wajib, sunnah muakkada. Okay. Sheikh, is the ruh similar to the modern notion of consciousness and subconscious? We don't know. In reality, we do not have an idea of what the ruh is. Let me give you an example like this. Imagine someone came from the future, like 1,000 years' time. Yeah. Oh, okay, look at it this way. Imagine you went back to the past, 3,000 years into the past, let's say. And you said to someone, mobile phone. They would have no understanding of what mobile phone is. Yeah. I'm going to call someone on the other side of the world. They would not even understand how is this going to work. Why? Because there's no precedent of this. So likewise, the ruh, when Allah tells us in the Quran that they ask you about the soul, say that the soul is from the command of your Lord or the affair of your Lord. And you haven't been given except a small amount of knowledge. Humans have not been given except a small amount of understanding of reality, what reality is. We don't even have like a percentage of a percentage. That's how oblivious we are to what existence is. So we're guessing. So scientists guess, physicists guess, philosophers guess, religions guess. But we've been told by Allah that existence is there and there's a hereafter and there's this and there's that and there's a soul. So we accept the soul. But the scholars, Sheikh Maulana Zakaria in his commentary on Muwatta has mentioned that there's about 600 opinions, including the Muslim opinions, about what the soul is. Imagine that, 600. So what you're just mentioning now is probably one or two of them. Yeah, so we can't say it's consciousness, subconsciousness. We don't really know. Okay, MU7861, salam, hope you are well. Number one, if you pray and later learn 100% you never had wudu, do you need to repeat? Yes. If you are 50-50, do you need to repeat? No. I do not read Quran as much as I want. Can you advise me how to overcome laziness, especially when working all day on weekends? Try to listen to Quran. If you can't read Quran, I would say start listening to Quran. And inshallah, the more you listen to Quran, the more you're going to get motivation to read Quran. Yeah, try that. Wa alaikum assalam wasiq. MashaAllah. Ahlan wa sahlan. Min Netherlands. Konik Iron Man. Should I listen to famous Muslim speakers who always tell Quran stories and hadith and never tell who narrated the hadith? Rather, they just say the Prophet said. Yeah, listen to them because it doesn't really matter to you. I mean, are you skilled enough to be able to tell whether it's authentic or not? Or who said it? Or that's the question. Because a lot of people, for example, like some people come to me and say to me, "Oh, Sheikh, where did you get the hadith from?" Now, if I say I got this hadith from Bukhari, if I got it from Muslim, or Tirmidhi, or Abu Dawud, is it going to make a difference to them? As in, do they have the skill to be able to tell that if a hadith is from a particular book, it's authentic or it's not authentic? Yeah, so it's that kind of, if a doctor tells you, if you're ill and the doctor says take this medicine, and you say to me, where does this medicine come from? Is that really going to help you? Not really. So I would personally say that if a person is not skilled in a particular area, they don't really need to know. As long as two things, as long as you trust a scholar's knowledge, and as long as you believe that he is upright, and you've never seen him do something that's contrary to Islam, listen to him. I would say, yeah. If you believe that he's not upright in his knowledge, don't listen to him. Well, why now? In my culture, a lot of importance is given to the dying wishes of a person and considered it a sin to not fulfill them. Is there any basis in Islam to this? What if those wishes aren't 100% Islamic? Yeah, so I mean, wasiya is only in those things which a person has of wealth, which they, are given to other people. That's it. There's nothing else, no other sort of wasiya that we have to follow. It's advisable maybe to kind of try and fulfill it, but it's not necessary. Okay, and I think a lot of cultures have this kind of thing where even in non-Muslim cultures they have this. Oh, my granddad's dying wish was that he wanted me to fix his pickup car, yeah, and so I fixed it. So it's like a kind of like emotional attachment. Sometimes you got to be very careful about these things as well, because it might be someone's close family they were close to, and you don't really want to hurt them, yeah. So you just want to kind of fulfill it for them, just to kind of bring that sort of like closure, you can say. Also, never mention our ulama. Our ulama, like, depends who our ulama are. So if if you're talking about our ulama as in Shia ulama against our ulama Sunni ulama, and they mention Shia ulama, Mu'tazila and stuff like that, then maybe stay away from them. Any good books on Sahaba stories or the stories of awliya? There's a book. You can read Stories of the Sahaba by Sheikh Abu Hassan Nadawi. You can read Stories of the Sahaba by what's his name, Ra'fat Basha. You can read Men Around the Prophet, Women Around the Prophet. There's quite a lot of, I think, works out there. Salam Q Khan. I'm interested in the 17 lessons. Can you please elaborate on what should be the outcome of the student follows the course structure? So 17 lessons basically is basically designed. I designed it, alhamdulillah, and I've kind of ironed out all the problems that I could find. And the aim of the course is two things. Number one is to be able to empower the student in being able to, for themselves, with the aid of a dictionary, go through ayats and translate at least 60 and 70% of it themselves. That's the main sort of like aim. And alhamdulillah, most students who finish 17 lessons are confident enough to be able to start this. So they won't become experts in grammar, right? They're not going to be experts, but they're going to have this big advantage over the people. Number two is that it gives a person ability to be able to improve their Arabic reading and writing from Arabic to English and English to Arabic. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, so that's what you get at the end of it. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to make myself some tea, have a little break. You guys have a break as well. So I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Yeah. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to be back. And because it's going to take me a bit of time to boil the water and put the millet tea in, what I'm saying. Alright guys, assalamu alaikum, I'm back. Okay, so I've got my millet tea drink. Okay, is the sound working? You guys can hear? Ha ya na? Okay, so let's start. Yeah, so you guys can hear. I assume that you guys can hear. That's why I assume. Okay, so let's start then. Right. So basically, these are some toys, mashallah, someone sent for Catty. So this is when Catty was very small. These are some toys, and Catty loves these. Catty loves this one. Yeah, I don't know why. She just grabs this and she just runs around the house and she kind of like hides and thinks that it's her, I don't know, mouse or something, and just keeps it in her mouth. And this is like the kind of distracting kind of toy you gotta use. If you want it to think that this is something important, you just throw it in and he just chases it. But yeah, this is a Catty's friend, by the way. So I thought I'd introduce you guys because Catty is a very nuisance cat, so I can't bring Catty. Okay, so start. So next question. The Hanafi position on the beard is strange. How can a wajib be established through the practice of Ibn Umar only, who never said he trims his beard to the fist length for any religious reason? He just is reported as having done so. We surely can't assume Sahaba just copied Rasulullah in everything, because that's wrong. They didn't keep the same hair length as him, or wear the exact same clothes, or have the same slipper style, or the same color beard. They had their own style. So saying that they were carbon copies of the Prophet ﷺ, these non-religious matters sounds like a fantasy of robots who all do the same thing. There isn't any proof from other than the Sahabi on the matter like the wajib. Also, the hadith below is only saying that do the opposite, trim the mustache. It doesn't say to do it specifically. Can you explain? Okay, yes, good question. So basically, when it comes to the issue of the beard, the Hanafis based upon the opinions or the ijtihad of early scholars, including Sahaba, Tabi'een, Taba Tabi'een, yeah, and others. So what we basically say is that when we say something is part of the Hanafi madhab, we have to understand it's not just a simple matter of everything that's mentioned by Hanafis that came from Abu Hanifa's time all the way till today is Hanafi madhab, right? There's different types of ijtihad that have been done by scholars. Sometimes scholars might mention a particular issue, and that particular issue might be something which is differed within the Hanafi school itself. There's difference of opinions, and there might be things which all Hanafis agree on. So this is why Hanafi madhab is more than simply just hearing one opinion and then making assumptions about that. So this is why it needs to be understood clearly that Hanafi madhab with regards to the beard is not as simple as how it's mentioned in this question. Hanafis, first of all, contemporary Hanafis do not all follow the same position on the beard. You have some Hanafis who take a strict position on the beard, and some Hanafis who take a more lenient position on the beard. Both opinions are based upon research. Both opinions are based upon some form of, you can say, ijtihad to some degree. When it comes to the basis for the growing of the beard, this is based upon hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Awful luha wahfu shawarib," and there's multiple different versions of this hadith. And the main thing that they get is the command that came from the Prophet ﷺ about keeping the beard was a form of identity of the Muslims. And so this became something that was necessary for them to do. And so we don't find any Sahabi shaving his beard. And scholars throughout, this could possibly have been because of culture as well. In other words, the culture of the societies in them days was that men would keep facial hair. And so this passed on, and it continued in most places. And then all of a sudden you have this kind of new trend of people cutting their beards or shaving their beards. So now, when this came, now, okay, what is the position on this then? So do we change the position? Do we say now it's no longer an identifying marker for the Muslim men? Or do we do over here? So that's why the Hanafis, the later Hanafis, or contemporary you can say, had a split on this. So it's the main is the hadith which mentions the command of keeping the beard. That's the main thing. So technically it should be that the beard should just flow, basically. Keeping a beard, it should flow. That's what the first argument is. And you shouldn't actually even cut it. But because we have evidences from narrations where the Prophet ﷺ, he told some Sahaba to, fix their beards from the sides, and he is even mentioned in the Shama'il to have fixed his beard. And like Ibn Umar's cutting of his beard, that shows that Sahaba understood you can cut your beard. Right? But because we don't have anything less than this that's mentioned, less than the fist, so they kind of say, well, let's stick to this then. It's a bit like some of the Hanafis who use the argument of wiping over the head, that wiping over the head is necessary because the Quran mentions it. But what's the minimum? So some Hanafis like Tahawi and others say that it's the size of the nasiyah, yeah, because that's what comes in the hadith. That's the minimum we find ever. The Prophet ﷺ, he wiped, and we don't find anything less than the nasiyah, which is the forelock, that he wiped. So I mean, to me it sounds plausible. Both arguments are plausible. So I don't see how it's. I think maybe the questioner has a misunderstanding of the Hanafi madhab. Maybe hasn't studied the Hanafi madhab well. And this can happen to anyone. Sometimes it happens with someone who's unfamiliar with the Shafi madhab or with the Maliki madhab. It can become very sort of confusing to a person sometimes. This is why we have these question and answers. So whatever research I have done, we can look into it. Sheikh Salah Abul Hajj is on the position or in the beard that the length of the beard doesn't have to be a fist. Yeah, it can, as long as you have some facial hair on your face, then that's fine. And he has a treatise that he's written on this, right? It's in Arabic, and some other scholars disagree with him and have written a counter, answer to this. So we have to respect scholars' sort of academic research, yeah, and we look into it. Okay. Okay, next. Can you please recommend? Okay, someone's actually asked me. Can listen to this song? Khoya khoya chand rehta hai asman ke paas. MashaAllah. Yeah, so the title sounds very nice. Okay, next. Can you please recommend some Hanafi fiqh books in English other than Nul Idah, Quduri, Hidayah, and Ascent to Felicity? I don't really know that. I'm not really sure, in English. I don't really kind of like look for English translations because, first of all, I don't really trust them. And the other thing is, I believe no one should study a madhab without studying it from a trained person. Because reading a madhab without a trained person actually can. I kind of have come out with this new word, which is toxic ilm, toxic knowledge. So sometimes what can happen, you can read information online and it's actually toxic for you. You're not supposed to listen to it. And one of our teachers used to say under this verse of the Quran when he explained it, fi qulubihim marad, in their hearts is an illness. And he mentioned several sorts of scenarios this can apply for. And he said one is where a person, he reads information which is not he is not trained in reading it, or he does not fully grasp what's being said in the book, and it causes doubts inside of him. Yeah, just like if some non-Muslim was to pick up the Quran. If they pick up the Quran, if they are not really kind of understanding the concepts of the Quran, or not trying to kind of check what the translation's saying, and just taking from here and there, it can actually be toxic for them. Yeah. So I wouldn't really kind of recommend that. I don't know English fiqh books. Is it valid to scholarly opinion that Hazrat Khizr is immortal? There are some opinions about that. Imam Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, famous, has mentioned, and the majority opinion, some of my teachers want the opinion that he's still alive, and some of my opinions say no, he's passed away, he's dead. Right? So there is two, you can say, valid sort of like arguments that are raised. First of all, is Khidr alayhi salam, is he alive? Difference of opinion. Number two, is Khidr alayhi salam human, or is he another creature of Allah? Yeah. Number 3, is Khidr alayhi salam, is he someone who was a prophet or was he a non-prophet? And so forth. There's ikhtilafs. Again, we haven't really been given too much information about Khidr alayhi salam. Yeah, so it's pointless kind of like going and coming out with some sort of like controversies regarding it. What's the ruling of female piercing the body parts like ear? Yeah, she can pierce the ear, and common things that are generally pierced in societies by upright women, you can pierce those. But if it's something which is like piercing parts of the body, like, I don't know, under the clothes or some these kind of areas, I think that should be avoided. Yeah, and because it doesn't seem to be like for beautification purposes, it just seems to be a trend. And we've got to be careful. Our bodies are a man of trust, and so cutting into parts of our body and making holes here and there is something that, you know, we don't really have permission for. Okay, to add to my question about my son and daughter being separated, if they share the same bed, at what age do they need to have separate beds? And so the Prophet ﷺ has said that when the children reach the age of 9 or 10, about 9, you should separate their beds, because that's the kind of time when they become aware of sexual parts of the body. Yeah, the sexual parts of the body, genitals and all these kind, they become aware of it and they want to explore. Now, you don't want to have a child who explores these, you know, genitals with their brother and sister and then grow up with these kind of feelings. So this is important to separate. Okay, next, let's check this out. Okay, what is your Aqidah? MashaAllah. My Aqidah is whatever the Quran says. That's my Aqidah. Okay. Is pork forbidden because of how it was raised in the past, or is it considered bad for other reasons today? So according to Muslims, I mean, see, according to Muslims, when Allah, we understand that Allah is our creator, right? When we understand that, we believe in this, then whatever Allah tells us is something that we take, right? Now, some of those things are going to be things, or most of those things are going to be things that we understand the reason why Allah has prohibited it. But some of those things are things that we're not going to understand, right? Allah will not tell us the reason why He's forbidden. So, for example, why do we pray 5 times a day? We don't know why 5, maybe 4, 6, 8, maybe we don't know why 5, but 5 is what we pray. And why can't we eat pork? We don't know. We literally don't know why we can't eat pork. It's just like one of those things that we just submit to Allah's instructions and we follow. Yes, we know why alcohol is prohibited, because alcohol intoxicates. So intoxication is something which is bad for you. Maybe pork is prohibited because, you know, its flesh is bad for us, or maybe pork is prohibited because of it, you know, living in filthy conditions. We don't know. Okay, can we invest in property using a lease option agreement? Depends. Again, these kind of property issues, you need to look at the terms and conditions. So, what does it mean invest? As in, are you investing, putting money into a scheme where you're going to receive dividends? Is that what it is? So let's say, for example, there's 10 people and they decide to buy 100 houses with money put together, and then they put it on rent, and then whatever profit comes out of it is going to be divided amongst the 10 people. How exactly do you mean the lease options? What's the ruling of Imam's wudu breaking during Jama'ah? Yeah, so if the Imam wudu breaks, then he's got to go into wudu. According to Hanafis, he can actually, if it's broke accidentally, he can put someone else forward to continue the salat. But if he deliberately broke it, everyone's salat is nullified. You never tried sududi, bro? Yeah, sududi. I didn't try it. I didn't try it. Yeah, I was. You know what? I just remembered now when you said sududi, that word. You need to keep it in your mouth and chew on mulati. Yeah, well, I don't. I just make tea from it. Yeah, tea. Maybe actually, after I drink the tea, I'll start chewing on it. Out of interest, please, would you still need 4 witnesses for zina if caught on video, or would you no 4 witnesses are needed? The aim of zina, basically, the aim of zina is to deter people from doing it. It's actually not designed to punish people, because the conditions are so strict, you're hardly going to ever find them. Yeah, so video wouldn't be accepted. Who are the ulama of today? Don't know, bro. Don't know. I think there's someone here. Okay, if I prayed witr after Isha prayer and I wake up to pray in the late night, do I need to pray witr again? Not according to Hanafi school. According to Hanafi madhab, no, you don't have to. Okay, should I learn to read the Quran or should I learn to read and speak Arabic, and any difference learning to read the Quran or learning? Yeah, so if you want to learn the read the Quran, you mean just like learn how to read the Arabic? Yeah, then yeah, it's good. You should read that. If you want to learn how to speak Arabic, you're probably going to end up learning a dialect, a modern dialect, which is not necessarily going to help you understand the Quran. So it's two different things, because the Quran Arabic is a classical Arabic. It's like a language which is not necessarily spoken anymore. Like the style of that language, it's a written language now. It's not an oral language. So if you were to learn Arabic today, Arabic conversational, then you're going to learn modern Arabic, which is going to be a dialect basically. Okay. Next question. Is it okay for a woman to work in a place with men, for example, 60% men, 40% women? Yes, as long as she wears hijab, only interacts with men necessary, and controls her gaze. What does the scholar? Yes, that's allowed. If a person works as a manager in a restaurant which deals with alcohol, is he allowed to use the money he earns to go for Hajj? Yes, he can, because most of the earnings, I assume, would be through permissible means. If a woman's regular menstruation, okay, this is a menstruation one. I'm gonna have to reply to this separately. Okay, have you ever seen a horror movie? If yes, what's the scariest movie you ever seen? Yes, I have. I think it was. That's the one. What's that one called where you just hear? I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, it's that little girl in a house, and it's like kind of like scary. One of those ones. Yeah, that was quite scary. Yeah, I mean, I don't kind of, I've lost that kind of scare thing now. I've lost that kind of scare. I remember when I was in Pakistan, jinn. Yeah, I had a lot of experiences with jinn. So what used to happen sometimes was when I used to stay at my grandma's house in Karachi. She lives near the sea. Yeah. So at night, sometimes the door would just open by its own. I used to watch it, and it would just open, and then it would go halfway and then stop, and the handle would turn, and then it would just like go backwards. When that happened to me a few times, I just, they have that zero bulb in Pakistan, like in every room they got this kind of green light or red light. You don't have it in England. I just put that on, bro. Ain't nobody got time for that. No one's got time for some jinn scaring me. Yeah. So forget that. That scared me. Yeah. But I don't really get scared anymore now. I don't have that fear of jinn and stuff like that. Okay. Is a free bet allowed? I.e., if you sign up to a football site, you get a free bet. It's a good question. That is. I don't know. I mean, it depends how the terms of contracts work. But technically, you're not gambling anything, are you? I don't know. Allah. I'll have to look it up. Why is Hazrat Khizr known as the green man? Okay, because the word Khidr is actually Khadar. Yeah? And Khadara means green. And they say the reason he was called that because everywhere he used to step, the ground used to become green. Allah knows best. If a man is driving instructor, is it permissible for him to teach women? I mean, yes, he can teach women, but ideally he should, try to avoid being alone with women in the same vehicle. I mean, with a vehicle you have windows and there's like public seeing, but generally, I mean, a person should try to. If there's a woman who wants to learn or something, or then she should try to get someone else to sit with her in the lesson, family member. But yeah, a man technically can teach if it's like difficult to kind of separate that, I'm only going to teach men and it's going to be difficult to get clients, then possibly. Yeah, but again, you should always have this fear of Allah, and professionalism is very important as well. Yeah, and a lot of driving instructors are quite professional. Yeah, when they're teaching professional, have maybe a camera in there as well in the car. So in other words, that you have this sense of responsibility, you have this sense of monitoring as well. Can you pray behind someone who wipes on cotton socks? I mean, my personal view is yes. Yeah, because wiping on cotton socks, there is some scope in some of the madhabs and scholars. I understand if an alim has short back and sides, it can ostracize the community. So should he avoid? So should be avoided. But I don't understand how an alim wearing jeans instead of thobe can ostracize the community. I can understand if he was leading salah, teaching or giving bayans, and he didn't wear a thobe. Yeah, I mean, I personally don't understand as well. It's just, you know what it is? It's populist Islam. Unfortunately, what has happened in, for example, like especially in the UK, is that people measure Islam with this kind of cultural measure that they've been brought up with. And if a person doesn't conform with that cultural kind of vision, image of a Muslim, then people will ostracize him. And that's a sad thing. Yeah. And so I don't have an issue with wearing jeans and these kind of things. I mean, I don't feel comfortable wearing jeans. That's why I very rarely wear them. I probably only got one pair of them. But yeah, I agree. Okay, questions over here. Weird question, but once I shaked my friend's hand really hard and he said, Wallahi, I won't shake your hand again. Now he wants to take it back. Is this possible? Can you take a Wallahi back? I mean, see, that's an oath, guys. So now once you go into the realm of making an oath, then if he does shake your hand, he'll have to give the compensation of an oath. Yeah. Okay, why now? Okay. What's the correct amount of water you should use when doing wudu, and how long should it take? So there's no like correct amount to use, as long as you wash the limbs, whatever you need to wash the limbs, basically. The Prophet ﷺ, he would usually use 700 milliliters, about 700 milliliters. It's like 2 Coke cans, about that much. Ustad, there is a grocery shop here and there are a lot of Muslims at work and they sell alcohol. Is it halal to work in that place? How about the wages? Yes, it would be halal because most of the earnings are halal. Yeah, so as long as Mufti Taqi Usmani says if there's a little bit of earnings that are haram but most halal, then it'll be halal. Okay, FIFA, do you think that there is a modern revival Mu'tazila movement denying miracles? Yes, definitely. And one of the main reasons for that is people not understanding the Quran in the context of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Yeah, that's one of the biggest issues. So it's like people are trying to learn the religion, but because they're not learning it through a trained tradition, what they're doing is they're using science and the kind of tools that they've gained through going to college and university. They're using that as a means of trying to decipher what the traditional texts are saying. And then whatever comes in their mind based upon their sort of like upbringing, they're using that to understand the Sharia and to explain the Sharia to other people, which is a kind of, you can say, a branch of Mu'tazila sort of approach. So this is why Imam Ghazali was very good at this, and he was very good at sort of like drawing the line between these different approaches. And he has a good book called Qanun al-Ta'wil. Qanun al-Ta'wil. Yeah, it's called Qanun al-Ta'wil on this. Okay. Okay, the fun. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Okay, I think this is a conversation between Why Now and Conic Iron Man. Okay. Ya Allah. Okay. Paul Hopkins, I found the 17 lessons during intermission. Thank you so much. I have been studying Arabic for 4 months and reading the Quran daily, albeit at a snail's pace. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. May Allah bless your studying and put barakah. And that's the reality. Knowledge, when you're studying, trust me, it just takes so long to reach the place that you've kind of envisaged in your mind. You want to become an expert in fiqh, but you fail to realize it's going to take you 30, 40, 50 years to do that. You become an expert in Arabic, it's going to take you years. I still learn things in Arabic. You'll be shocked. I learn so much stuff in Arabic. Yeah, I still read on the side. I try to, improve my own understanding of the language as well. So yeah. Where's Catty and how is she? Yeah, she's not awake. Well, you can make her awake. That's the thing with cats. You can wake them up anytime you want. We have time for a revert, brother or sister. Why can't a Sufi change their beliefs? Not everything is chalk and cheese. Things like this take time to understand. Oh, at Conic. All right. Okay. All right. So where's MP? Where's MP? MP is supposed to be monitoring this group. Yeah. Sharif Wills, alaikum salam. When does it become fard to know the rules of Islamic act, i.e. salat, buyu, inheritance? So basically, it's only fard upon you to know what you need to know to be a Muslim. So if you're a doctor, you will need to know what you will need to know to be a Muslim doctor. If you're a mechanic, the same. If you're a teacher, the same. If you're a parent, the same, like that. So if you're never going to go into business, you don't need to know about that. Yeah, stuff like that. Okay, Shehzad Ma'ruf. Imam Ghazali was a Sufi. They had kashf, true knowledge, not from books. I don't understand. Okay, so nice conversations between Conic Man and others. Please, can you work through a Sufi book translation? No tarkib. Might be a good idea, you know. Might be a good idea. Might get some more subscribers to my channel if I do these kind of things. Yeah. So see, my aim of my channel, you have to always remember, my aim of my channel is first and foremostly Quran. Yeah, Arabic, Quran, and the sciences related to the Quran. And then other sciences which are extra sciences, I might be able to do them later. But I want to first of all cover all aspects of Arabic, so a person can go on there from scratch and learn all the way up to, you know, super advanced level. I want to go through Hadith. A person can start from scratch and go through super advanced level. Quran, that's what I want. That's my aim, inshallah. And I've got an amazing team that is helping me with this. But that's what I want. So if I kind of like spread myself thin and do everything, I think I'm gonna not be able to achieve my primary goal. Okay, Ibn Taymiyyah himself praised some Sufis. Okay. Is it impermissible to eat drink from the same utensils, glass that non-mahram use? Yes, it's permissible. It's permissible. As long as you don't do it with lust. So for example, if someone drinks a drink and let's say a woman drinks a drink and the man kind of like, he feels that he's going to become sexually aroused by drinking the drink after her, then he shouldn't drink it. Now, it's not because the water is impure. It's because of that element of a Muslim should try to stay away from all those things that are going to make him lustful. Okay. Okay, some interesting conversations went. Okay, Nasima, guys, stop polluting the chat, please. I think Conic Man, I'm gonna have to take you off, brother. Apologize, but I think it's become a bit too crazy here. Why now? I think I'll make you a moderator. Why now, please? I'll make you a moderator, and you just do, because MP has legged it. Yeah, MP has done one. So I now honor you and make you a moderator, so you can do the moderating and get rid of people who you think are gonna waste time. Okay. Could you please explain why shooting stars are mentioned as something to hit shayateen with when we know it's natural? Yes, so this is an excellent question, and I answered this before, but I'll answer it again. So look, Allah has created the system here. Now in this system you have the earth, and you have the sun, and you have oceans, and you have trees, and you have this whole system of, you know, plants growing and water falling from the sky in the form of clouds and precipitation. You have outside the earth, you have the system of orbiting, you have the system of planets and solar systems, you have objects that are in space that are just flying around. So when the Quran mentions about the shooting stars, the thing we have to remember is that the Quran does not say that the shooting stars are only for shooting the shayateen. It does not say that at all, right? So it says rujuman li shayateen, that they shoot them, but that could be like, we don't even know how many types of shooting stars there are. There could be like hundreds of types. Maybe there's one type which is like, you know, like assassins, snipers shooting at the shayateen. Maybe that's one type, and maybe there's a lot of other types that are for other reasons. So the problem is is when we read Quran without, again, trained person, or without getting sort of like prior education to it, we create this kind of image that whatever the Quran says is absolute, and the Quran does not specify anything. And this is why we need to learn usul fiqh to be able to appreciate this. But yeah, that's basically the gist. So yeah, it's a natural phenomenon for most of them. But yes, Allah is saying in the Quran that shayateen are shot at. We don't know. We might not even see them. They might be happening in a different part of the universe, because we can only see a fraction of what's around us. Muhammad Umar, why English Nahu guide would you recommend, Sheikh? English Nahu guide. I was actually writing a Nahu book in English, all right, and I thought that was going to be the best book in the world, but it doesn't get completed, unfortunately. So make dua, inshallah. I would say a very good book to kind of an English one. You know, I don't know really. I mean, I think Arabic tutor is quite good. Arabic tutor, that's fairly good. Kulthum, Constantine, do you follow Ash'ari Aqidah? Okay, so I'm gonna clear this up, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna clear this up. So look, Aqidah. In Aqidah, I follow what the Quran says and how the Sahaba understood it. This is my Aqidah. This is what Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah means. So I follow whatever the Quran says. And why do I do that? Because in the Quran Allah says, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ اهْتَدُوا. That if they believe like the Sahaba believed, they are rightly guided. So that's my belief, guys. In other words, Aqidah, nothing will ever be added to Aqidah. Whatever Aqidah the Quran has presented and the Sahaba understood, that is the Aqidah that will give us salvation. Yes, Ilmul Kalam, like Ash'ari, Maturidi, these kind of things, this is the fiqh, like schools of thought of how to rationalize Aqidah. So the Aqidah that we've been given, to sit back and to think to yourself, you know what? How does Allah say, how does this kind of concept in Aqidah work with this? Is the Quran the speech of Allah? If it's the speech of Allah, how does speech of Allah, which is infinite and eternal, interact with human that is finite? How does that work? So the logics behind it, like the workings, the mechanics behind it, this is called Ilmul Kalam. Kalam simply means discussions. So scholars would sit down, they would discuss this with one another. They would say things like, how would angels travel? Like, how do angels travel? Like nowadays, maybe this would be a question that people would ask. How would angels travel? Are they supposed to travel? Do they travel faster than the speed of light? And this is Ilmul Kalam. This is seriously Ilmul Kalam. Even things like, if Allah has created the universe, has Allah created atoms that come together? And are these atoms the universe? Is the universe something greater than this? So this is what Ilmul Kalam. So we don't have to go and believe in this, but we should, I think there should always be in a community scholars who are trained in a way to be able to counter like non-Islamic sort of narratives of the universe. Does that make sense? So that's basically, so if you say, I mean, I'm trained in Maturidi Aqidah, I'm trained in that, but like I said to you, my Aqidah is whatever the Quran is and Sahaba. Ilm al-Kalam is simply a defense mechanism. Okay. Alright, yo. Next. Mufti Taqi Usmani has a book in English called What is Christianity? Also books by Sheikh Ahmad Didat on choice, Islam and Christianity, Dr. Zakir Naik, the Quran, the Bible and Light Science. Hamza Zotis also has written a book called The Divine Reality. Okay. I don't know, is that a question or is that a statement? If in Salah the person says Qul for Qul Hu Allahu Ahad and then realizes it's the third rakat of the fourth and stops and goes into ruku, would this be deemed as Kalamun Nas? No, it won't be, because it's something which is part of the Quran. How can I stop lustful gazes? So, lust starts from the heart, right? So if you want to stop lustful gazes, we need to purify our hearts, yeah, and we shouldn't be watching, things that are gonna entice our sexual arousal, and we should, try to control our diet. Main thing is diet and asking Allah, I would say. And if a person controls their diet, eats healthy, stops eating junk food, and starts eating a healthy diet, cut down on the meat, only eat the meat several times. There was a Sahabi who actually used to say, and this is I think it's in Muwatta, that whenever I eat meat, I have basically erection. I get erections. What should I do? So, he stopped eating meat, yeah, because he would get this arousal. So, this is why, sometimes we have to give up certain things if we want, to be able to really spiritually enhance our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, if a person uses a wazifa of 41 Surah Yasin recommended by Sheikh Ashraf Ali Thanwi, then does he need to read 41 times? I don't know. I mean, these kind of wazifa, you need to ask Mullah Ashraf Ali Thanwi about this. I have no idea, because see, all these things are not from the Quran, they're not from Sunnah, they're not from anything. They are basically, a person has experienced this themselves, they've tried it, tested it, it worked for them. So we don't believe it to be part of Islam. We just believe it to be something which someone's like on YouTube, someone says, oh, you know, I tried and tested this on my car and it worked. Okay, by the way, yeah, my car got hit last week. Yeah. So my car got hit. It was parked outside and a lady smashed into another car and her car pushed into my car. So I've actually got a courtesy car. It came today. So a courtesy car. So I just thought I'd share it with you guys. You guys are my family, my online family. So yeah, that's what happened. So make dua, guys. Car gets repaired. So yeah, I don't know about this wazifa, and I mean, I've never tried it. When someone is awarded something or something positive happens in a gathering, people generally clap. Does clapping bring shaitan near you, and is it allowed? Okay, I think I know who asked that question. No, it doesn't. I mean, I haven't found any proof of that. Chocolate eclair dessert or donuts? Chocolate eclair, obviously. Chocolate eclair, guys. In Pakistan, I remember when I was studying, so I studied in Banuri town. And outside of Banuri town, if anyone's been there, there was this kind of cake shop. This cake shop used to make a limited number of fresh chocolate eclairs, but they wouldn't put it on the counter. They'd have it at the back. And I said to the guy, pass some eclairs. So they used to be about, I think they were about 10 rupees each or something. And we used to take those eclairs, put it in a box, and we used to go like a 15-minute walk to this other like tea shop, Guetawal tea shop. And it was right next to this mechanic store. You could smell the oil of the mechanic store, but it was so nice tea. We just, maza, it became part of the maza. Yeah, like you're eating donuts and you smell the rickshaw, you know, smoke from the back, and you smell the oil from the mechanic store, and mashallah. Yeah, nur ala nur. Okay, I bought some Islamic books with intention to be a gift for someone, but then I decided to keep it for myself. Is that permissible? Yes, totally permissible. You don't have to give it. You only have to, you're only not allowed to take something back once you've given it to someone and they've taken possession of it. So if you say to me, Sheikh, I'm going to give you, you know, a gift, and I say, mashallah, right? You don't have to give me. But if you give it to me and I take it, then you can't take it back off me. Really enjoying the Malfaluti series. May Allah accept your efforts. Jazakallah khair. It just came to my mind. I'm thinking of some other series as well in my mind because I got a new phone, mashallah. Jazakallah khair. And I'm trying to think of all the different ways I can use my phone, because that's what I do all day. I just think to myself, how can I produce content for these guys out there to benefit from Arabic? That's how my brain works, man. That's how my brain works. And this is, I mean, Allah knows best. I mean, you know, on the day of judgment, if Allah's going to accept it from me, I pray that Allah accepts all this from me and all my team that are with me. I pray that Allah on the day of judgment forgives their sins and enters them into Jannah without any, you know, hisab and through His mercy. But the reality is, you know, this is something that gives me passion. When I see people send me messages and say to me, you know, Sheikh, my life has changed because I learned how to read the Quran through your videos. I'm like asleep in bed and I'll get a message in the morning. I'll check it and it says, Sheikh, you changed my life, and you know, I'm crying now because for the first time I've been able to read Quran. So alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Are you going to post more learning how to read Quran videos? What do you what would you say? Do you think I should? If I get enough people, then maybe I'll start again. So I've done 25, I think, so far. For YouTube question answer, I'm planning on going Umrah soon. If you're flying to Jeddah, do you have to have the ihram on at the miqat? What if you intend to do the Umrah after 2 or 3 days and not immediately due to health reasons? Is there any leeway? Okay, so the rule according to Hanafis is this: if you're going to basically go to do Umrah and Hajj, that's your main purpose of the visit, you must go into ihram once you pass the miqat. Yeah, you have to, even if you're staying in another place just for a little while as a transit, but you're going to have to. But if your intention is to stay in a different place, like your intention to stay in Jeddah, visit family, but whilst you're there, you're thinking, you know what, I might as well do Umrah as well, then you don't have to go there in the state of Ihram. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. Some Hanafis have said, for example, they mentioned this masala in Raddul Muhtar, Ibn Abidin mentions it about the Bustan, that one of the ways that people from Hind can kind of get around this is they intend to travel to a place which is within the miqat, but you know they kind of like go there just for a short while and then they go to Umrah. But I would say, look, if you're going to go there, it's only going to be 2 or 3 days, and ihram, you're not going to really be doing too many ihram breaking things. So you know, I think or maybe on the way back or something, visit the family. But yeah, there are some Hanafis who do allow that. This is called the Hila stratagem. That if you're going to go there and you're going to intend to stay in a relative's house, and then you say, oh, well, Ibn Abidin doesn't agree with this, by the way. But there are some that do say so. If you were to take that opinion, there might be some scope there. If you really had to. And if you're really ill. Okay, last question on Curious Cat, and then back to you guys. My brother-in-law left his 3 years wife 3 years ago. Since then, he's had no contact with his wife and children. He's saying Islamically he's divorced because of the no contact. Does he still need to pronounce the talaq? Yes, if he hasn't pronounced it, then the divorce hasn't occurred. Yeah, there's no talaq. He has to pronounce it, or written form or some form. Does he need to give any monetary compensation to her? I mean, for the kids, yeah, obviously, for providing for the kids, that's his duty, that is. But not necessarily to her. Okay, let's go and check these questions out. Okay, don't worry, bhai. You can both become moderators. Chalo. Yeah, 2 heads better than 1. Okay, mashallah, our group's gone calm now. Okay, Mufti Sahab, don't say that jinns are very sensitive and might take that as a challenge. May the jinns do the 17 Quranic Arabic lessons challenge. Yeah, so I dare any jinn to do the 17 lessons. So if you guys don't know, there's a challenge that we have on social media. It's the 17 lessons Quranic Arabic challenge. So far, there's about 4 or 5 people that have done it so far. Where in 17 lessons, you learn the whole course. Like, you basically learn Arabic and you can start reading and translating Quran. So I dare a jinn to do this. And if any of you guys are interested, then, get in touch. Alright, let's... Musab, did you get my question on bid'ah? No, I didn't. What was it? Could you please explain why? Okay, we've done that one. Jalal, is investing in stocks and shares of companies or cryptocurrency like Bitcoin allowed? Bitcoin, I mean, Mufti Faraz Adam, I follow what he says about these modern sort of like dealings, and he allows it. So you can Google him, Mufti Faraz Adam on Bitcoin. Yeah, so stocks generally and shares allowed. There's certain types of stocks and shares are not allowed if they invest in something haram. There's certain types of, stocks and shares, like virtual stocks and shares and others, which are not permissible. Yeah, because it's basically like gambling. You had said that in terms of games, it's okay if they don't have nudity and such because it's fiction and not real. But could you elaborate more? Because I'm playing a game that takes me to the game version. Game that takes me to the game version of Afterlife. They call it Otherworld. Yeah, it's allowed. It's totally allowed. See, as long as you obviously that's not your aqidah, it's fine. Reading a book of fiction and it talks about some resurrection and reincarnation, that's allowed to read it. As long as it doesn't affect your aqidah. Okay, Yamna, if you're a child or a woman financially dependent on someone else, are you responsible for the permissibility of their earnings? As in, I mean, you need to elaborate on that one. Okay, so I was doing something. No. Yeah, now your punishment is that you have to hop on one leg around the house and do 20 roly-polies. Okay, Naseem, it may be haram, but you can benefit from it. The sin is upon the person who earns it. Okay, mashallah. I think someone's already answered your question before understanding. Okay, Tahir Mahmoud, what's the best cure for overthinking and keep thinking you're impure over little stuff? Yeah, so best thing for this would be, I'll tell you what to do. The best thing for this is try to always be in the company of, or not always be in the company, try to regularly be in the company of people who are balanced in understanding approach of Sharia, of Islam. Once you're in their company, you realize that, the way that they behave, the way that they do things, it kind of like naturally brings this equilibrium in your body. So if a person overthinks about certain things and then they see like a sheikh or a scholar that's not overthinking about certain thing, they begin to realize that they are slightly tipping in their balance. That's what I'd say. Okay. And some people are just naturally just overthink about certain things. Overthink. But the main thing that you remember is that just try to ignore it the best as you can. I know it's difficult to ignore. Try to ignore it. Just try and distract yourself. But try to be in company of people who are balanced. Is income from a business that's halal in nature become haram if it was set up with a loan where interest is paid, or other haram activities like bribing? No, the earning would be halal. The earning would be allowed inshallah. Okay. What would you consider an ideal Arabic syllabus curriculum for English-speaking Muslims? I would the one that I do. Yeah, Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, and then after that you go into Surah Yasin, you do Surah Tabarak, and then after that you do some Arabic grammar. I think that's the one that I've got. Obviously, advertising. What do you think about the hadith about prophets wanting to commit suicide in Bukhari? The Prophet ﷺ, I don't understand. What's the question? What do you think about the hadith? I mean, it's a hadith, isn't it? It's an authentic hadith. It's okay. Okay. I have heard that the Rasul ﷺ heart was cleansed. Is this not disrespectful, as his heart must have always been pure if he was that most pure? Meaning, see, when we look at these issues, the thing is sometimes people overthink about these kind of matters, right? So for example, like people start arguing about why did the Prophet ﷺ do wudu if his wudu impurity doesn't come out of his body, and then so they go into all these kind of like these are not categorical. A lot of these things are not categorical. A lot of people debate about these things, but there's no like categorical sort of like issue here. It's not like an issue of aqidah that will take you in and out of Islam. Okay, so one argument that a person can say, if the Prophet ﷺ's heart was cleansed, why was it cleansed for if it's pure anyway? It's maybe someone can argue, well, maybe it's to make it reach another level of cleanness. So the Prophet ﷺ was pure, and then the heart being taken out and being pured, it was for it to reach another level of purity. Like there's different levels of purity, one that we can't even reach. We need like divine support for that, angels to do this to us. Maybe that could be an answer. Okay, Paul Hopkins, thank you for being so patient and kind. I'm learning Arabic but do not want to wait 30 years. Can you recommend a speak English version of the Quran? Yes. So there is a one that I recommend to everyone, which is a Glorious Quran, Gracious Quran by Ahmad Zaki. Very good. Yeah, Ahmad Zaki. Or the translation of Quran by Dr. Abdul Halim. Just look that up. Abdul Halim. The translation of the Quran. And I hope your car gets well soon, inshallah. Yeah, make dua, guys. But the car that is the courtesy car that I've got, mashallah. Yeah, I hope my car takes time getting better, basically. Yeah, so it does not take 30 years to learn enough Arabic to understand the Quran at a basic level. Okay, the Gracious Quran by Ahmad Zaki is a good, simple English translation. What's the best cure for overthinking? The best cure for overthinking is you need to get a balance with the people that you're around. Yeah. What did they call eclairs in Pakistan? I don't know. I can't remember. What did they call it? I think they used to call it eclairs. Yeah, the shopkeepers call it eclairs. Yeah. यार eclairs दो eclairs देना यार, या वो जो पीछे पड़े हुए, हाँ देना. कितना चाहिए? दो चाहिए. तीन. Yeah, like that. We used to do that. Or just point. FIFA, I've been studying Nurani Qaeda, mosque size, studying 7 hours a day, and I have only made it through the first 4 surahs. Okay, is there not some leeway in returning gifts in the Hanafi madhab unless it's food, for example? Yeah, you can return gifts. You're allowed to return gifts, but you're not asking for them back is another thing. Asking for them back. So the Hanafis have these kind of 7 scenarios where you shouldn't ask for them back. Yeah, but giving a gift back, you can give a gift back, it's fine. Yeah, Paul Hopkins, mashallah, well done to you, bro. Well done. Excellent. Yeah, keep it up, bro. Okay, you can please make a series on sabr, persistence with seeking knowledge and losing heart. Yes. Inshallah, I'll try to do that. And actually, the Sahaba series is going to be dead, so maybe I can incorporate that into Sahaba series. Okay, is there a hikmah to the names of the Islamic months? No, I don't think so, because they're not Islamic. See, again, guys, the thing we have to understand is months are not Islamic. Like a lot of these names of the months were there prior Islam, before Islam anyway. So the names of days are not Islamic apart from Jum'ah, which is not really Islamic, but it comes in the Quran. And then, there's lots of things in society that people assume Islamic, but they're not Islamic. Yeah, so months are not Islamic. They're simply lunar. They're used by Muslims. So something being used by Muslim doesn't automatically qualify as being Islamic. That's what I believe. Hey, I have a question. Can you see this? No, I can't. Okay, Nasima, can you expound on that? I am studying Quranic Arabic and say an Egyptian dialect. I don't know where to focus on. Okay, leave that to her. It's 4 a.m. where I am. Can we not talk about jinns? Acha. So you want to know about jinns, yeah? Okay, I will tell you some. I've got some lots of interesting stories of interactions with jinns. Okay. Okay, I had a person I would come for a halaqah, but what if I don't feel like going? Is it sinful if I don't go? It is counted as a promise. No, it's not sinful. Okay, how do your tea stay warm for so long? Karamat, guys. I gotta tell you some karamats about myself. So basically, the tea is special, kind of like, I don't know. I mean, the tea comes very hot, but then it takes time to cool down. Yeah, so it's been over an hour now, isn't it? It's still nice and warm. But karamat, yeah. Even if the husband has been absent for years and not pronounced talaq, yes, that's correct. Okay, the only time when a husband absence is considered to be a divorce is if he's absconded, yeah, if he's in absentia and no one knows where he is, then the judges can issue the divorce. Or the second is if he does what is known as a ila, which even according to Hanafis that the judge can't enforce. It has to be by him. Okay. It seems that you fear. Okay. Randomly, if someone challenges that he's produced verses similar to the Quran, who's going to judge it? I mean, is there a Muslim body who decides? Yeah. So excellent question. So if someone does produce, and people have tried to produce like things that challenge the Quran, experts who know the Quran, if they read it, as soon as they read it, they know if it's if it actually holds up to the challenge or not. Yeah, so I don't think there's any body in the world at the moment, but there are experts in the world at the moment who can actually look at it and will tell what's wrong with it. So there's many of them. Yeah, so people who have reached such a degree of understanding Arabic classical literature that they can actually measure that. If you gave a gift to someone, then you had a fight with that person, and they returned the gift back to you in the fight, is that gift yours? Yes, it's yours because they gave it back to you. Maybe that's a way to get your gifts back. Interesting. SMB, wa alaikum salam. Which is your favorite Krispy Kreme donut? The one that kind of like it's got like chocolate on top, and then when you bite into it, it's got like custard inside of it. I don't know what's it called. What's that called? That's quite nice. Don't you think the idea of Prophet wanted to commit suicide is problematic? So the Prophet ﷺ wanted to fall off a mountain. I mean, I don't understand why would the Prophet ﷺ want to fall off a mountain be wrong? Like if Yunus alayhi salam wanted to jump in the sea or be thrown in the sea. So I don't understand. How long should a woman stay inside after her husband dies? Some say 40 days. No, the Quran says 4 months 10 days, or until she delivers a child. So if she's pregnant, until the child's born. Where's the clay cup today? So clay cup, basically the clay cup can't hold as much tea as I'll put into here. So the millet tea, you guys can see this. Yeah, it might spill. It's a bit yellow. It's quite deep, this cup is. So that couldn't hold all of it, so I don't want to waste it. How comes we don't know some words that in the Quran? Yeah, so good question. How comes we don't know some of the words in the Quran? This is something which is known as the huruf al-muqatta'at. So us knowing the meaning of every single word in the Quran is not necessary. The Quran guiding us is the main thing. Yeah. So in other words, we're in a society where we want to understand what every single thing means. And the Quran tells us there are certain things, like the nature of language will be such that when a person says something, some of the things will be categorical in how they say things, and some of the things may be obscure in the way they said. It's just the way humans articulate themselves and the mind functions. Yeah, so this is the same with the Quran. This can happen with divine texts if people don't have a prophet that explains it to them. So that's why the Quran being taught to people through the prophet was actually something that was, like a big, amazing bounty in itself. So not having to understanding what these opening letters are, it's not really a big issue. It doesn't make it a big issue. Okay. Okay, Ali. So saying "I'll come to such and such a place," I'll come to such and such a place, I'll do such and such thing, that isn't a promise. Yes, it's a promise, but the thing is that if you, like you said, didn't you? You said that you don't want to go because of a certain person there, right? So that could be a valid reason. Yeah. So in other words, like breaking a promise because, like for example, let's say I promise someone that I'm going to meet them on Saturday, and then I realize that that person on Saturday is going to be with someone who is going to be harmful to my, to me. Yeah, maybe someone who might be a drug dealer, or I might get a bad reputation because of meeting with them. So I can decline. I can say, look, I apologize, I won't be able to make it. Yeah, so because of those kind of reasons. Okay, may the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you shifa. Ameen, ameen. Thank you very much. Your cough is better, alhamdulillah. Yes, jazakallah khair. See, drinking this, it kind of like soothes it. Okay, I'm home, intend to pray my 4 rakats of Zuhur Sunnah. Just stood on the mat for it and heard the Iqamah at the masjid. Should I still pray it, or can catch up later the 2 rakats of Zuhur? Yeah, so if you, the Hanafi say basically this: as long as you haven't started the Sunnah, you go towards the Imam. Number 1. Number 2, if you started your Sunnah, as long as you haven't done Ruku and Sujood, you can break the Salat and join the Imam. And if you have done Ruku and Sujood, you pray 1 more rakat and then you give salam. Like you break the 4 into 2, give salam, and you go. So the three scenarios. So if you haven't started your Sunnah and you see the Imam starting congregation, don't pray your Sunnah, go join him. Number 2, if you've done Takbir but you haven't done Ruku, then go join him. And number 3 is if you have done 1 sajda, do a 2nd rakat, so make it 2, and then give salam. Okay, Ma'had Mania, is the Prophet ﷺ alive? Yeah, so this is it. So Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah believe the Prophet ﷺ is alive. There's a recent sort of ikhtilaf with regards to, is his life, so if he's alive, is his life in the grave a life of living life, like when you touch a person can feel it, or is it a life of a different realm, the barzakh life? This is a difference of opinion between scholars on this. Yeah, so that's the only difference. But the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah believe that the Anbiya fi quburihim, yusalluna, yurzaquna, ahya fi quburihim. What are your favorite self-help books? My favorite self-help books? I don't really have any favorite. Quran's a favorite self-help book. Shows you how to help yourself. Can you burn Quran? Can you burn the Quran? Why would you want to burn? Oh, you mean like dispose? Some scholars have allowed disposal of Quran through burning. Yeah, some have allowed it, and others have said no, you should bury or throw in the sea. How should we dispose of broken tasbih beads? I mean, these kind of things can be thrown in the bin. It's not really an issue, but obviously because you've been using it, you see some sort of like respect or reverence for it. I would suggest if you have that in your heart, then bury it. Yeah, or put it into a clean sort of like plastic bag or something, tie it up, and if you're gonna throw it in the bin, at least have it in a clean place. Have you tried coconut milk hot chocolate? Whoa, no, I haven't. Is it good? Do you pray extra prayers once a woman's time of the month is ended? Do you pray extra prayers once a woman's time of the month is ended? No, there's nothing specific she has to pray. No, she doesn't have to pray anything. I mean, if she wants to pray, she can, but there's nothing prescribed. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What proof do we have that literature that might have had been written refuting Islam in the early years wasn't destroyed when Islam got dominance? For example, Fateh Makkah or the following Islam. Yeah, the simple reason is because we have lots of literature that was written against Islam. There are actually lots of literature that has been preserved by the Muslims to refute Islam, and the Muslims have openly kind of had this, and they have responded to it as well, alhamdulillah. So we have lots of literature written by individuals, Musa al-Maymun, a famous Jew in Spain, and there was other individuals as well who wrote against Islam. Yeah, so we have that. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get some Islamic sort of like leaders who are gonna burn books. In Spain, it was a very common thing to even burn, like Imam Ghazali's books were burnt because they believed him to be heretic. Right, so you are gonna get certain leaders who are gonna do that. So, but I mean, there's like books like I don't know if you guys know Arabic. So there's books like by Abu Ala al-Ma'arri. Abu Ala al-Ma'arri has like these kind of books. So they say basically Dante's that description he gives of hell actually gets it from Abu Ala al-Ma'arri. Yeah, Abu Ala al-Ma'arri. It's actually written stuff like that. Very, very controversial things. So, and that's preserved. Muslims preserved. Because the thing is, we're not ashamed of people writing against us. The Quran is filled with statements of people who speak against Islam. Fir'aun, Abu Lahab, people who disbelieve the mushrikeen, certain groups of the Bani Israel. Yeah. So I think this is a misconception that people have about this. Okay, why does janaza, I think you mean, salat, and has no rakats? I don't know. Allah knows. But that's how it was taught by the Prophet ﷺ. Also, Jazakallah khair for this session. They are excellent. You're welcome randomly. You're welcome. If you bury Islamic Quran books in your front garden, but there's a possibility that the postman will walk over them. Yeah, so in that sense, what you can do, shred them, get them shredded and burn them. Because once you shred them, they're no longer Islamic, as in if there's ayats and things like that. Or you put them into recycle. Some ulama say using recycling sort of methods where they put some sort of acid or thing onto it and it gets rid of all the ink. That's even allowed because that's what the water does. Will Hazrat Isa alayhi salam be raised up as a ummati or Rasulullah? Allah knows best. Is it sinful to go to bed late at night if it's very doubtful that you will be able to wake up Fajr? I mean, if there's no reason for it and there's going to be very high chance of Fajr, then possibly there'll be sin there. But if you have a valid reason that you can't go to sleep, insomnia, or you got relatives or friends or something like that. I want to learn the Quran, but I can't understand it at all. Do you have any way to make it easy to learn? Can you read the Quran? Can you read Arabic? I've got a course, 17 lesson course, which you can register for. And that's in 17 lessons. You can start learning and understanding Quran. How often should I visit the graveyard? Also, my father passed away last week. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi astaghfirullah. Guys, make dua for SMB's father. May Allah give SMB's father Jannat al-Firdaus. May Allah comfort SMB and his family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make his grave a garden of Jannah, and may Allah put his father in a place in Jannah that that befits the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen, Ya Rabb. Yeah, sorry to hear about that, guy. Sorry about that. Okay, Yamna, if it gets late and you only have a few hours left for Fajr, would it be sinful to sleep, knowing that there's a possibility of not waking Fajr? You see, the thing is, the Prophet ﷺ said there is no falling short, there's no transgression in sleeping. So your human body is going to sleep anyway. But if you deliberately intended to stay up and had no intention of getting Fajr, then you'll be sinful. But if you had intention, even if you thought, I'm going to sleep for half an hour and get a Fajr, and you went to sleep and knocked out, then inshallah, I believe that there's going to be no sin there. Yeah, because you can't help your human body, your natural urges. You can't really kind of stop your sleep. Okay, Rabi Saradin. Assalamu alaikum. What is the difference between salam and sakina? So in Arabic, you mean? So salam usually means like a state of being without harm. So being unharmed, you can say. So a person says, I'm in the state of salam means I am unharmed, I am sound. And sakina, it means sukoon, which means peace, to be calm. Yeah, to be still, not moving. There's a difference between salam and sakina. Isn't there an ayah in the Quran that says Muhammad will die also in Al Imran? Yes, definitely. And the same says about the shaheed, but in the Quran, when Allah talks about the martyrs, Allah says that you say they're dead, they're not dead. You don't say they're dead, they're not dead. Yeah. Bal ahya, they're alive. So if Allah says that about the shaheed, and even though in the Quran, like you're correct, the Quran says every soul shall taste death. So one is tasting death, but one is that will a person be alive after that? As in, so the shaheed is alive, we all know that. And the same with the prophets. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen. What do you think of Harry and Meghan abdicating? Yeah, I know, man. You know what? Let them do it, man. Yeah. You know, these guys, I mean, it's a big responsibility, I think. Being in the royal family, being a celebrity, it's very hard. Yeah, because, you know, you have to live up to expectations. You can't do what you want to do. You have to kind of dress in a certain way. You can imagine them being told off for, you know, behaving in certain ways. And yeah, I think go for it, guys. Bye. Okay, the ayah means he will taste death as... Okay, is there a time limit for tahajjud and fajr? Can I pray tahajjud 5 minutes before fajr? Yes, you can pray 5 minutes before fajr, as long as you pray before fajr starts. So would you be sinful for people walking over that part of the garden? No, you wouldn't be. There's no sin in it. Remember, sin, when these kind of things, is to do with respect. Right? So if a person deliberately stepped on it with the intention to disrespect the words of the Quran, or the Islamic text, they'd be sinful. Do you hold such sessions regularly? If so, yes. I usually do on Saturday nights. Saturday nights about 9 p.m. UK time. If one yawns the length of 3 tasbihat, does it require sajda sahu? No, because that's not something which is it's not something voluntarily. It's out of his control. Okay, randomly these sessions are generally done Saturday 9 p.m. Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah, everything finished. Khalas. MashaAllah. Whoa, today we hit 35 current viewers. MashaAllah. So, who's new here today, guys? Yeah, who's new here today? Yeah. Allahu Akbar. Bahruddin, Jazakumullah khair. $5. MashaAllah. Ammar Saeed, I haven't seen you for a long time. MashaAllah. Do you plan on visiting Quds in the near future? Maybe, yeah. Why? You want to go? So, someone did ask me in the summer if I want to go in the summer. Yeah, with a group. So I haven't really kind of given a decision yet. But if I do, I'll let you know. Definitely. Yeah. Come meet up sometime, Ammar. We gotta do some meetup, bro. Yeah, mashallah. Abu Bakr Khan said, I'm studying Dars in Nizami Bradford and I really enjoy your Muqtada Quduri lessons, but I need to learn how to work out the Arab of words and find it hard to do it. Any tips? You know what? Best thing is, you need a good teacher and you need lots and lots of reading. Get someone, sit with them and say, can I just read Arabic text to you? Start off with baby kids books and then you improve yourself. So I found some kids books online and what I want to do a series to go through kids books just to improve. Which nawafil should be prayed at home and which ones the masjid? For example, the 2 after Maghrib is prayed in the masjid. Yeah, so in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, do not make your homes like graveyards. And the Sahaba generally would pray their sunnahs and nafals at home. They would rarely pray them in the masjid. But as time went by, the Hanafi scholars said, because people are living further away from the masjid, the likelihood of them getting back home and praying the nawafil and sunnahs was becoming less, so they were missing it more. So that's why they said you should pray in the masjid. That's why if you think you can get home, you can get home and you can pray your sunnahs and nafil at home, best to pray at home. It's better to pray these things at home, than, especially when it has an impact on your family as well. Adib Yusuf is, yes, Adib Yusuf, mashallah. I like that name. Randomly, you as well. Nasima, mashallah. Shanawaz, Bukas. Astaghfirullah. How do you pronounce your name, bro? Yeah, I need to. Bukas. Cruel Son, me, mashallah. This is an excellent name as well. Wa alaikum assalam, Shanawaz. How do we contribute? How do you contribute? I mean, oh, the money, I don't know. I mean, there should be a button at the bottom that says $sign. I think it's through that. Hugo Stratton. That's probably said it all messed up. What does it mean that the martyrs are still alive, and how does it coincide to every soul? Yes. So the martyrs being alive, every soul shall taste death. So death is a concept where we as humans see as one thing, but in reality it's something else. Does that make sense? So in reality, right, this idea of life and death is something which is different from how we perceive it. So our senses, when we see someone die, this idea of death is only in how we're seeing it. But in reality, if we were to step out, like zoom out of this universe, and we were to see how humans transit from one world to another, from the world of the souls to the womb of the mother, and then from the womb of the mother to life, and then from life to this grave life, and then from grave life to the day of judgment, and then it's a whole sort of like different universe. So when Allah tells us in the Quran about life and these things, sometimes He tells us life with regards to how we see it, and sometimes He gives us an insight into the behind the scenes working of the universe. So when Allah says that the martyrs are not dead, meaning they've tasted death, because Allah clearly says every soul shall taste death, but at the moment they're alive, as in there's a state that they're in which you can't perceive. Allah says it's a life which your reality can't detect it. Jalal, mashallah, loads of people today. Alhamdulillah. Can you go through the book of jihad? The book of jihad. There's loads of books of jihad. Which one specifically? Book review. Yes, book review. I will do that. Oh, first time MP is asking for a book review. I think why now you've rubbed off on MP. Okay. Welcome to all the viewers. Mashallah. What time zone for 9 p.m. UK time? Okay, New Orleans, man. Yeah. That's my New Orleans accent. New Orleans. 9 p.m. GMT. Could you explain the concept about Allah's sifat being not... Okay, so I think more questions are coming in. I think our American brother. So anyway, I got this mug here and I got this pen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quiz. And what's the quiz going to be? Yeah, the quiz basically going to be not a quiz, a challenge. And whoever does these things, I will send them, inshallah, wherever they are on the earth. I will sell them, inshallah, pen. Yeah, so this pen, I need to get some more mugs printed, but inshallah, when I get those, then I'll do that as well. I want to send the Roots of Knowledge pen. This is a Roots of Knowledge pen, special one. Yeah, a Roots of Knowledge pen. I'm going to send you this. So what do you have to do? So what you have to do is the live session, you have to... not this live session. No. I've got this video. Yeah, it's called the 17 lessons. It's like the introduction, Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, right? And I'll put a link in the comments. So when this all finishes, I'll put a link in the comments. Whoever shares it on their social media, and whoever likes it, and whoever passes it on to other people, then I'm going to choose 5 people from the list of people who do it, and I will send them this pen. Yeah, that's a promise. I will send you 5 people. I will send you this pen wherever you are. The Roots of Knowledge. Oh, that's all you have to do. Yeah, so that clip. Yeah, so you have to share it. You have on social media. You have to like it, and comment. Yeah, comment as well. Yeah, so comment, share on social media, and like 3 things. Yeah, social media meaning like on Facebook or Twitter, and I will choose from there 5 people randomly. I'll put the names into a hat or something. I'll choose randomly. Maybe make Catty choose a name, and I will send it, inshallah. I'll try to send it anywhere around the world, inshallah. Okay, so Okay, so this question about sifat not being him but still being separate, that's something that I'm going to have to, because it's going to require a bit of time for me to explain. So if you put that question in Curious Cat, so if you put it now in Curious Cat, I'll save it for next time. I'm a born Muslim but not fully convinced of Islam. Don't know if it's waswasa or I'm going to throw strange questions. Ya Sheikh, please wait. Inshallah, don't worry, bro. Randomly, inshallah, we're going to try. Look, end of the day, guys, we have to remember, we are living in societies where there's lots of confusing information, conflicting information that we're being given. Yeah. And we have to understand, we have to have patience with one another. As long as we have etiquettes, we have some, some respect for one another, inshallah, I'm going to try to answer your questions as best as I can. Yeah. And the rest, we just see what happens, inshallah. So I promise, inshallah, I will try to, but you guys have to bear with me as well. You got to show me some patience as well, and some etiquette, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Nasima, Jazakallah khair. Muhammad Ashraf, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. G, you said my name right. Alhamdulillah. What happened to 8-ball pool series? Oh yeah, what happened to that? Yeah, I know. I got a new phone. I haven't downloaded on it. I'm gonna have to. I want to know about Offensive by Ibn Taymiyyah. Can you go through Shamal Tirmidhi? Shamal Tirmidhi, excellent idea. I think I might do a series on Shamal. Definitely. I'm from South Africa. South Africa, excellent. Which part of South Africa? Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town. Inshallah, I want to go there. I always want to go there. West Africa here. West Africa, Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah, West Africa. Ahlan wa sahlan. I want to go there as well. Basically, I want to go everywhere. I should get a dozen pens for all my amazing ideas. You should. I know you should get a dozen pens. Where are my American bros? I don't normally ask for a book review. Okay, I'm going to do a book review, guys, yeah. So I'm going to do a book review for MP. Okay, so which book review shall I do today? Okay, let me just try to see which kind of nice book there is. Okay, so book review today is this one. So basically, this book, right, is what you call a takmila. So I don't know if you heard of Tirmidhi, but Tirmidhi is a well-known hadith book. So there's many people who wrote commentaries on Tirmidhi, and one of the scholars who wrote commentaries on Tirmidhi is my teacher's teacher, Sheikh Yusuf Banuri, right? So this is a very, very detailed commentaries in Arabic language. It's for advanced people of hadith. But he passed away, subhanAllah, look at this. He wrote the commentary in 6 volumes, and he passed away when he got to Janazah. Yeah, so when he got to Janazah, he passed away. Just like I heard Sheikh Shanqiti, when he wrote Adwa al-Bayan, he passed away. He didn't complete it all. So he passed away when he reached the verse in Surah Yusuf, when Yusuf alayhi salam says, Rabbi qad ataytani min al-ilmi. ربي قد آتيتني ملكي وعلمتني من تأويل الأحاديث فاطر السماوات والأرض أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة توفني مسلما وألحقني صالحا. And we wrote this after that he died. Yeah, so subhanallah. So this is a completion, an attempt to complete that series that he stopped. So it's called Takmila. So he's done Janazah and he's gone into a lot of detail. There's a big difference between his approach in explaining Tirmidhi. It's in Arabic as well, between Sheikh Yusuf Banuri's as well, right? And that's naturally going to exist. So Sheikh Zahid, who is Sheikh Muhammad Zahid, Dr. Muhammad Zahid, who's in Pakistan, a scholar from, I think he's from Faisalabad, I think, or is he from, I don't know, Gujaranwal, I can't remember. Yeah, so it's from Punjab. Yeah, so he's written this, and yeah, it's a very nice book. I've gone through it because I teach Tirmidhi. So when I teach Tirmidhi, I usually use Tuhfat al-Ahwadhi by Mubarak Puri, and I use Ma'rif al-Sunan by Yusuf Banuri, Shaykh Yusuf Banuri. And there's a few others that I use, but generally I try to kind of just kind of look into those. So yeah, so this is the book. It's called Takmila, and it's very good. It's actually got a good section where he talks about, you know, when the Prophet ﷺ mentions about the types of shaheed, right? And that, you know, it's not the only the person who dies in battle is a shaheed. There's like other people. If someone mugged you and killed you, or if you fell off a, you know, wall fell on you, or you died of a stomach illness, or, you know, you died in drowning or in a fire and something like that. So he's collected all the hadith that he could find, and he's found like 59 different types of people who are counted as shaheed, you know, based on the various hadith. So that's a nice kind of thing I like about this book. He goes into some like issues which I can't find in other commentaries, classical commentaries. So this is good. So inshallah guys, one day I'm going to explain Tirmidhi to you guys on my series, and I'm going to go through all the chains and explain to you all the narrators and why Bukhari doesn't choose this chain, or why Tirmidhi doesn't take the Bukhari chain and stuff like that. So that's the kind of thing at the moment I'm really into. Yeah, I like, you know, those kind of stuff. So you know, that's the kind of field I like. Usul hadith, usul fiqh, and hadith and fiqh and Quran and nahu. Yeah, so those are the kind of things I like. So alhamdulillah. Okay. We'll catch too much shipping. Don't worry, inshallah. Inshallah. For you guys, inshallah. So for you guys, inshallah. Yeah, I'm willing to do that for you, for special 5 people, inshallah. And I'll mention your 5 people on my inshallah vlog. Yeah, so like I said, subscribe, share, and comment. Yeah, I'm already chose too much effort for a pen. Mashallah, Smile to Jannah. Is that Smile to Jannah? The Smile to Jannah, that the funny kind of series or the channel? Yeah, yeah. Is it that one? Brother, I forgot the guy's name, man. Is that you? I forgot. If it's you, then I forgot your name. Yeah, but I watch you a lot. Yeah, very, very nice to watch. You know, Smile to Jannah. I don't know if anyone else watch Smile to Jannah, but Smile to Jannah is a very. I don't think it's that same Smile to Jannah because the logo is different. But Smile to Jannah is a kind of funny thing to watch. Clean humor. Could someone put my question in Curious Cat, please? I have not used it before. Okay, Newcastle. Oh, Newcastle. Ah, excellent, excellent. One of the my colleagues, Sheikh Zahir Mahmoud, if you know him, he studied in Newcastle. Adib Shams for book review. Pick book number 5 from shelf number 3, starting from the left. Oh, it's a bit late for you to say that, bro. Yeah, it's a bit late. Okay, next time I'll do that one. Which one was the fifth book from the shelf, 3rd, starting from the left side, random? Okay, I'll put your question in Curious Cat. Is not just about the pen though, it's about the man behind the pen. Allahu Akbar. Adib Yusuf, you hit the nail on the head, bro. You hit the nail on the head. Okay, Jazakallah khair, mashallah guys. I have been told by a few people about how to grow your facial hair, and I want to know, are you allowed to grow your mustache and or are we allowed to grow one of them? Yeah, you can grow both of them. Yeah, you can grow mustache, beard. Yeah, or you can shave your mustache or trim your mustache. It's fine. 59, yeah. And if I had time, I'd actually go through each one. Maybe next time, yeah. Remind me, next time I might cut the question answers short, and I might go through all 59 that I mentioned. Might be like something good to do on the YouTube channel. Look forward to that, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Ma'had. Could drown in hadith and tafsir all day long. Allahu Akbar. Me too. Is it makruh to remove the mustache according to Malikiya? And what is your view on the... I don't know about Malikiya. I'm not sure. I think Imam Malik has an opinion about shaving the mustache. Considers it bid'ah. But I don't know what the Malikiya say about it. Okay, and what is your view on those who say that the mustache is sufficient without beard? I mean, I kind of, from my research, that no, I wouldn't agree with that. No, it's not the famous channel. It's not the famous channel. Allah. I thought I was a bit famous there for a little while. For another amazing session. Jazakallah khair. You're welcome. Why not? His name is Zishan. Zishan, yeah. Inshallah, we'll remind you of that. You're welcome. Okay, guys, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, the human body gives up and has to go to sleep. Yeah, and you know, I have to finish my tea off as well. So like I said, Jazakumullah khair again for all of you guys. You know, seriously, on a kind of serious note, mashallah, I become very happy when I see you guys. Yeah, when you guys ask your questions and when you guys interact, and even if your questions are, you know, questions that seem, you might think they're silly questions, but I have respect for you. As long as you guys show some, you know, some decorum and some etiquette, then alhamdulillah, I'll try to answer your questions best as possible. And like I say, you know, you guys obviously do guys make me happy, and you know, I've got to admit that, and I can't just make stuff up. And yeah, actually, you know what, I'm gonna read this poem to you and finish off on this poem. So if you guys know Arabic, then you might be happy, and if you don't know Arabic, then actually, you know what, actually I don't know what the poem is. I've lost the poem. Yeah, I lost it. Oh, it's an excellent poem, man. Should have kept it. So anyway, guys, take care, guys. Remember your du'as, and remember brother SMB's father passed away. Allah give him Jannatul Firdaus. And also remember the challenge. Yeah, and Bahruddin, you are the man. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for your donation. And what was I going to say? I was ready now for that poem. Oh my God, I gotta find this poem now. Yeah, because now I know you're gonna keep reminding me of it. Okay. Okay. Actually, I found it. Yeah. So this is a kind of like a longish poem. This is by a guy. Yeah, this is in the time of the Umayyads. Yeah. Umayyads. So his name was Qais bin Dharih or Durayh. And the poem is called إذا عبتها شبهتها البدر طالعا إذا عبتها شبهتها البدر طالعا وحسبك من عيب لها شبه البدر لقد فضلت لبنى على الناس مثلما على 1000 شهر فضلت ليلة القدر إذا ما مشت شبرا من الأرض أرجفت من البهر حتى ما تزيد على شبر لها كفل يرتج منها إذا مشت ومتن كغصن البان مذ طمر الخصر. Now the last part I'm not going to read because it's a bit explicit. Yeah, but those who know Arabic, you know, you get the hint. But I'll read the first part. It's basically this poet is talking about this woman that he loves. Yeah, and he's saying إذا إبتها شبهتها البدر طالعا. Whenever I criticize her, I make her resemble, I describe her as the full moon that's high up in the sky. وَحَسْبُكِ مِنْ عَيْبٍ لَهَا شَبَهُ الْبَدْرِ. And it's sufficient for you, he's talking to like this person, saying, it's sufficient for you as criticism that I'm describing this woman, this other woman, third woman, as the full moon. Like if she is described as the full moon, when I criticize her, then, you know, what do you think her status is going to be when I'm happy with her? Yeah. إذا عبتها شبهتها البدر طالعا وحسبك من عيب لها شبه البدر لقد فضلت لبنى على الناس مثلما. Indeed, Lubna is her name, Lubna. So Lubna has been given virtue على الناس over all of the rest of the people. مثلما, like ما على 1000 شهر فضلت ليلة القدر. Just like Laylatul Qadr has been given preference over all other nights. So the reason I'm saying this poem is very good is because how he's used the wording. Yeah, he's used kind of like deep words here, you know, like the night, at night time you're with your beloved. It's kind of like different, isn't it? If you're with your beloved at night time, it's not the same as Allahu Akbar, Shahnawaz, MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair for your donation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, bless you and bless the people of Newcastle. So going back to his poem, Badr and then Laylatul Qadr, yeah, it rhymes, and then Laylatul Qadr is nighttime as well, and it's like that intimate connection you have with Allah, Laylatul Qadr. It's like you don't get like a Yawmul Qadr, a day of Qadr. You get Laylatul Qadr, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I just thought I'd read that to you guys. So that's the point. So some people were saying Urdu poems are they outclass Arabic poems. Well, low, like they say. Low. Okay. Yeah. Check out the channel, check out the videos. If you like them, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Sheikh Michael Smith read this, yeah? From Texas. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And you remembered it. Allah. Anyway, Jazakallah khair, guys. So I've read a book to you guys. I told you a book. I read a poem to you guys, and there's nothing left now. And what's left now is nighttime. So anyway, Jazakumullah khair again, guys. Thank you very much. May Allah reward all of you guys. Keep you guys all happy. And I will see you inshallah next week, hopefully, if I'm alive. Next Saturday, inshallah. And hopefully my cough would have gone away as well. And in the week, check out the videos. Let me know what kind of series you guys think I should start working on. And Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much, guys. And from wherever you are around the world. Actually, remember in the comments, I'm going to leave the link to the video that I was telling you, the challenge one, or the for the competition. I'll leave that in the, not these comments, but the main comments. So Jazakumullah khair. And Waina, Allahu Akbar, MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Waina has donated 20, MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Allahu Akbar, MashaAllah. In that case, let me open up some more books of poetry. Only joke. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. May Allah reward all of you guys. And say bye-bye to Cathy's friend, who you can see has been like chewed up. You can see all the fluff coming out because Cathy just has it in her mouth and chews it all up. Yeah, and this is Cathy's feather rolly thing. Yeah, and this is Zayd and Zainab, whose marriage many of you guys attended. Yeah, well, not Zayd and Zainab, it's Zayd's representative. Jazakumullah khair, guys. Take care, inshallah. Thank you very much. Inshallah, I'll try to take honey, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.